Yes, people, good morning to you all. I hope you're all doing well. We have quite a lot lined up to talk about this morning, but more importantly, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I wholeheartedly offer whatever suits your time zone. I hope you're all doing well. Please, I beg you all, let's keep the topics aligned today. Let's keep the topics aligned and let's not keep going from one topic to the other because there's quite a lot to talk about. If we skip from one topic to the other, it can be very exhausting trying to get all the topics. But please, let's keep it aligned. And that, by the way, sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. Yes, people, welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. Welcome back to another Blue Morning Show. It's going to be exciting, quite a lot to talk about today. Some interesting topic. Um, let's see what we have here already in the chat. Here we have Danny Music. It's been a while, brother. I hope you're doing well. He said we definitely wouldn't be in the Premier League much longer. I've lost faith in Potter and Todd Bowley. They both have to go. Mm, it sounds easy. The manager can go, but I'm not sure about Todd Bowley going anywhere. Here we go again. Our team will become a championship team soon if Potter stays and Barry leaves to be back with Tuchel. I just think Todd Bowley needs Todd Bowley too. I just think Todd Bowley needs to what? Okay, to go to he ruined our club. I wouldn't say he ruined their club. They made a mistake, but I think we'll be all right. Potter out, Todd Bowley out. Um, Eugene, big up everyone. Football is passion, not a project. No, Osimhen. Your opinion. Some people want him. I don't want him either. But let's see what the club does. But big up to you, Eugene. I hope you're doing well. JC, big up, Kachila. How are you? I'm doing well. How about you? I hope you're doing well. Um, Hello to everyone that's in the chat. And Chelsea, all the way. Big up, Kachila. Big up to you too, brother. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. I can't thank you enough for that. And yes, if you're watching, if you haven't, please keep dropping the likes on the stream. The likes do go along with. We have 12 likes. We've been finding it difficult to hit 100 likes since the transfer window shut. But let's see if we can stop that today. Let's get it to 100 plus today by the time the show ends. So as you're coming in, be sure to like the stream. And also, if you can, share the stream on whatever social media platforms where you have presence so that people can come and join us. So that's, by the way, we get into the discussion right away. We're starting with this one from my friend at Chelsea Dodgers, which says West Ham's Declan Rice, Brighton's duo, Moises Caicedo and Alexis McAllister, and Southampton's Alexis McAllister and Southampton's Romeo Lavia could all be targets, having been of interest to the Blues in the past few windows, but Chelsea must also raise a significant fund. That's the part you have to pay attention to. We have to raise significant funds. How are we going to do that? I don't know. Maybe if we get a new sponsor and they pay a lump sum, usually the sponsorship deals, even if they're in the 400, 500, 600, they pay yearly. They usually don't pay in a bulk. Like I said the last time we talked about this, we'd have to pull off something like Man City did, like having the parent company sponsor the club and then pay how much we want and say that's what the deal is worth or something similar. But yeah, that's where I say just pay attention here. But Chelsea must also raise significant funds from player sales if they are to avoid falling foul of the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. Yeah, we already, I get it. The report which says we lost money last year, that says we lost money this past year, also said, yeah, but we're still good. Yeah, the truth remains we're still good, but we have to still balance the books, if that makes sense. So it's not that straightforward. So saying we're going to sign player A, player B, C, D, E to Z, how many of them you want to count? We still have to somehow bring in cash to balance the books because, yeah, 121 plus, or how much again? Two, is it two something? Yeah, okay, 121.3. It's not something. How many players are we going to sell to bring it to get anything close to that? We'd have to start selling maybe the players, the new players. Yeah, maybe the players will pay so much money for. Or maybe we start selling them to raise it up to 21 million plus from player sales, or maybe sell quite a lot of players. But if we're going to sell only a few, and I'm not sure what player is going to fetch us that much money. As much as I think Mason Mount is more likely to leave the club, how much do I think we're going to get from him? He's in the final year of his contract, which means clubs won't be paying more because they know they can get him to stay when can run out his contract and join them on a free. And I'm sure he wouldn't mind doing that and getting the sign-on fee and all that. So it's not that simple saying we want player A, B, C, D, E, Z. The good thing is that we're lucky we have good enough squad. Plus, we have young players that, yeah, if anything happens, so even if they say, again, they say we shouldn't, they ban us from signing players for another 3 years, I think we'll still be good. That's the lucky side of the whole thing. But let's see what you have to say here. Just the other way, pick up to you, Coach. Can we take on a Nagelsmann and keep Potter on payroll until Tottenham makes an offer for Tottenham? I don't think we'd do that. It just compounds the whole financial situation because I don't think, no matter how much we're bringing in every month now, it will take a while to balance the books, if that makes sense. But I understand what you're saying there. Chelsea could sell Kovacic's race fund. Yeah, he has just a year left on his contract. And chances are, yeah, selling him, he will be one of the players that other clubs will be quick to take from us. I get it, but it wouldn't make sense. Selling him, I think, we're creating more problem. He will leave a serious vacuum that won't be easy to fill in the team, if that makes sense. But I get it. He will be one of the easiest to sell because he's a fine player, and he's on excellent form right now. Even Thomas Tuchel wouldn't mind taking him, and Bayern will come from his straight away. Coach, if CFC are not in Europe next year, yeah, it gets worse. The UEFA FFP rules don't apply to us same year. Bali has found another loophole. Really? How do you mean it doesn't apply to us? You're trolling, right? But at least how about that of the Premier League? How's that one phrase again? The profit and sustainability rules. I can't speak this morning. What is happening to me? Yeah, but that's, by the way, that's why I have been talking about a Champions League qualification. Now things look bleak because Potter, Bali, because of Potter, Bali gets what he deserves. I wouldn't say that it's my club. I get it. He's made a mistake, but I want us to move on from that mistake and see how we can turn things around and still do well financially and otherwise. I think he meant, well, yeah, they made a mistake by firing Tuchel, and that's the only mistake I can say they've made so far. Do you think they'd look back and say, yeah, we made a good decision? I don't think so. Except if Potter starts turns things around and he stays like that for a while. But yeah, it won't be simple signing any player in the summer, actually. The sales would have to happen first before the purchases, which makes it even more difficult, which means there's a chance by the time we make enough sales to start looking at the players we really do want to sign, other clubs will snatch them up. They snap them up, if that makes sense. Our signings is starting to look all over the place. Buy this, buy that. It's worrisome. Indeed, it is worrisome. Without a structured playing style, so much uncertainty, I have to agree with you. I think it's looking like we're in serious trouble, no matter how you see it. And I'm going to repeat myself again. I get it. After everything, yeah, we're still fine, but we're close to the line. That crossing that line, that we'll have a problem with the Premier League. We'll also have a problem with FFP. Because if we don't if we don't have European football, it makes it even worse. Then we'd have to, bring in money from somewhere else to balance the books, which means sales. And if that sales, how much are we going to get from players, most of which have just a year left on their contract? We'd have to sell quite a lot of players and probably end up selling more than we should to solve the problem, and then have a very thin squad. Coach, I'm not trolling. It's correct that if CFC are not playing in Europe, then then FFP rules don't apply. Okay, I don't know the rules that much, but thank you for saying that. But we'll still have a problem whenever you come back, except if you're able to sort it out before you get European football again. So I don't know the rules that much, but correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, again, that wouldn't be a problem. But the moment we qualify for the Champions League, it becomes a problem for us. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Let's see what else we have here. Big up to you, Santiago, the Run Guns. I hope you're doing well, Santiago. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. So this one here, I'll still come back to it. It sounds easy, but it's really not that simple. I think we have a problem that we need to sort out. We're here, well, for the past few years, we've been here in Inter Milan wanting to sort out, to balance the books, wanting to sell one player or the other to do so. I think now we see how it is. This one says that Chelsea and Bayern Munich are talking now about a compensation payment for Anthony Barry. He wants to leave Chelsea. That's concerning. If Anthony Barry says he wants to leave Chelsea, which means I don't think they trust the project. I get it. He's worked with Thomas Tuchel. He won the Champions League with Thomas Tuchel, the European Super Cup, and also the Club World Cup. But the fact that he put in a transfer request indicating that he wants to leave the club is not a good sign. And I get it. Who wouldn't want to join Thomas Tuchel and learn more from him, have that foreign experience as an young English manager? I think working at Bayern will go a long way for him. And he's a talented young manager, I've heard. Barry leaves. The question is, I fear that Barry leaving probably will compound our problem. We're struggling with him. We're struggling defensively, even with him available. So to me, I feel like it gets worse if he leaves. The situation we find ourselves in right now in terms of form, the team form, I suspect will get worse if Barry leaves the club. And why do I say that? He's an excellent defensive coach, a set piece coach and all that. And look, we seem to have struggled a bit in those areas under Graham Potter. So what happens if he leaves? I want to get your opinion if you're in the chat. Do you think we'll be worse off if Anthony Barry leaves the club? I think so. And that's even more, again, I think that would be the case, particularly the case for those that don't trust Graham Potter as a manager. I want to get your thought. What happens when Barry leaves? I think we'll be worse off. That's how I see it. At least that's my opinion. I'm not sure that's going to be the case. There's a chance we hire another manager, another assistant coach or set pick coach or another young up-and-coming manager who'd be better than Barry. Buy one and get one free. CFC should sweeten the Anthony Barry deal with throwing in Potter. I wish we could. But that's by the way. Potter, there's a chance he turns things around. I never say never. But I have my questions no matter how I feel today. But that's by the way. We move on from that one here. The players, Chelsea could sell. Mendy could leave. Yeah, that's the truth. Kepa could also leave. But I don't see both leaving without at least getting one goalkeeper in. Both of them will not leave, except if we get one goalkeeper in, then either of the two could leave, but most likely Mendy. Chalobah will be a risk. If we remove Chalobah from the defensive quota, I think we'll be running low in numbers in that area. Koulibaly, yeah, it sounds easy, but I don't think he leaves. If you're going to remove Koulibaly and Chalobah, then sure, that means which means you have to make 3 defensive signings too to make up the numbers there. We have good numbers there right now because we have the 3 of them. But the moment you sell them, we'll be very thin in that department. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Havertz, Gallagher, Mount, Lukaku, Cho, I think they will try to keep Cho if he can take a pay cut. It sounds easy, but it's not that simple. How much would that cost Kachila, more or less? More, you mean how much we're getting from these players? Even from all these players you mentioned, except Mendy still has about 2.5 years left on his contract or so. So we get some money from him. Chalobah is on a long-term contract, but how much are you going to get from him? How often has he been playing? That's a good question. Koulibaly, maybe you can get a substantial fee from him, but not that much money. Chilwell, not that much money. How he has about 2 years left on his contract, but I don't think you get too much from him. Kovacic maybe has a year left on his contract, so you're not going to get that much money either. So those are some sales, but you have to make some signings, because if you sell that much players, you have to bring in some players. Or maybe if the plan would be to sell the senior team players, or first team players, and then start using the younger players. So it depends on the situation we'll find ourselves in by the time we get to the summer transfer window. Chances are that's a situation we'll find ourselves in. We'll sell these players and not buy too many. And a result, resign to use the younger players will sign over time, if that makes sense. Add Aubameyang and Ziyech. Aubameyang, most definitely. We signed Aubameyang for 15 million, and he's in a worse form than he was before we signed him. So I don't think we'll get anything close to 15 million. Maybe Ziyech, I think we get something around 30 to 35 million from Ziyech. And that is if the buying club doesn't opt for a loan move first. And how much we get from him depends also on how many games he plays before the transfer window opens. So it's actually not that simple. Can we add Sterling on the list? Well, it's not up to me, but I think they keep him. Maybe. I'm not sure what's going to happen. How do you not set a target for an employed coach? Lose, no problem. No Champions League qualification, no problem. It's just a plain mediocrity on the view. Here's the thing. I understand that's a concern. Given what we're hearing, it's easy to assume that the club did not set any sort of target for Graham Potter. That it's easy to jump to that conclusion, but I don't think so. I honestly do not think. I don't think. I honestly that's the case. Give me a second, please. Yeah, I strongly believe that there's no way they'd be paying him that much money and sign him on 5 years without having some sort of clause, performance-related clauses. No, we don't just know everything on his contract. Then it wouldn't make any sort of sense. Is there a chance that that's the case? Of course, that may well be the case. Potter was so relaxed. That's life. I will see how things are going to unravel. Maybe. I'm not sure. Let's see what else we have here. Make a transfer in edit mode. Okay, CFC could raise a lot of money by selling everyone except Kukurea, and 2, buying the squad of Brighton. Mission completed. Yeah, maybe. That's the thing we would do. But we're in trouble no matter how you see it. I get it. They say, yeah, we're still fine, but we're close to crossing that line. I'm parted to be sold to. I'm going to say this about the new owners. Chances are they may well decide to keep. They may well decide to keep the younger players and also sell the older ones, because they make a lot of money from the more experienced players, if that makes sense. But we don't know. I hope it doesn't come to that. We buy 16 new players so we can sell these players. Why we buy a lot of potentials so we cannot even sell players now? The situation isn't that simple, but I don't think we can look at things and say we're fine. No, we're not fine. We have to balance the books before anything happens in the summer. People fail to understand that the head coach has the final say. Assistant coaches have power limitations, and the senior main coaching department is presently not world class. I am really concerned. We all are. The future is bright given the young talents we signed, but I'm seriously concerned about the club's immediate future. CFC Hakim, Mason Mount has to go to help us raise money. But here's the secret: if you haven't thought about it, I don't think we get too much from selling Mason Mount. Yeah, I know it's looking more likely that he leaves, but unfortunately, he doesn't have much left on his contract. And so you don't get that much money when that's the case. I don't know if you understand my point. But that's, by the way, we move on to this one here. Oh, and by the way, CFC Hakim, I hope you're doing well. Only who have finally say is Mr. Bali. He has the final say. Yep, that's correct. And Mr. Bali, but they do vote. From what I heard, even they've had the vote with regards to Graham Potter's future. So yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see what happens. If we sell all those players, we will be left with 21. So we can get 4 or 5 players: Osimhen, Casado, Kone, Lavia, and McAllister. I don't think the club. Here's the thing: except if the club get their way with the Premier League, we've heard they've spoken with it. They've reached out to the Premier League to give them some leeway. I don't know, for lack of a better term, because of the issue we had. The sanctions and all of that led to us losing, not bringing in enough money. That again, even at that, I heard we made some gain. We made some profit actually, but we still have to balance the book. So if they get their way, the Premier League says, okay, we understand. You had an issue, so we'll let that go. You can go ahead and spend some more, which I doubt will happen. I think it will be very, very difficult. But hopefully, we get that from them. If not, I don't see us spending that much money in the summer, if that makes sense to you. Give me a second. That's, by the way, we move on from that one to this particular comment here. Okay, talking to Chelsea all the way. Bali didn't understand the importance of Champions League qualification with the amount of money it brings in. This will wake him up. That is, if he doesn't understand, but I doubt he doesn't. I doubt he. I know this again. He knows. Believe me, I strongly believe that he knows quite well that missing out of the Champions League will hit the clubs or pocketbooks. He doesn't need a teacher to teach him that. We have got plenty of deadwood to sell. Don't worry. I'd be more concerned if we still have a Porter at the helm. Paul Crossley. The chances are Porter stays here to the end of the season. And why do I say that? Porter will most likely be here to the end of the season because a firing Porter compounds the situation, except if we have some sort of clause on his contract that if the club decides to fire him and they fire him, they won't be spending much money in terms of payoff or compensation. But there's a chance if we fire him now, we'd have to add more. That's 15 million plus to the loss. That compounds the financial problem we're having. You can argue that's probably the reason why they haven't let him go, because of how much they'd have to pay him and his staff if we decide to let him go today. So yeah, it's not that simple really. Porter leaving his, losing his job as a Chelsea manager. UEFA Champions League winning begins in around, brings in around 110 million. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Bali spent 3 times that amount just in 4 weeks. So yeah, here's the thing. I'm not sure what to say. I'm a big fan of, again, saying, I hope we don't, if we miss out the Champions League, I don't want us to be part of Europa League and or maybe the UEFA Conference League. But the truth remains, where we find ourselves, we need get income from anywhere possible. Which means even if it is a conference league, I wouldn't mind us participating in that just to bring in some money to help us balance the books. Because I still strongly believe that player sales alone, it's not going to be enough for us to balance books. And except if we go to the extent of selling the new signings, selling Enzo Fernandez, selling Mihailo Mudryk, and some of the new signings that's when you say player sales alone will help us balance the books. But I think we'll be okay. But hopefully we win the Champions League or make it to the top 4. That will lessen the work we have to do to balance the books. Coachella, if he understood, he would have fired Porter a long time ago. Now it's too late. Let's make something clear here now. It's not about Bali. It's a consultant. He's not the sole decision maker there. Chances are they actually do vote. And I'm going to say this. As much as I think they made a mistake in letting Thomas Tuchel go, I think they mean well. honestly. If they think probably they're making the best decision for the club. But it has happened, and I think they've learned from it. Let's see what else we have here. A big up to you too, Martin. Oh, I hope you're doing well. Porter will stay to the end of the season at least, but we need Nagelsmann. He could do big things with this team, and it's far more suitable than Porter. But unfortunately, Bowley won't sack Porter. It's not that simple. It's not about Porter. I'm going to keep repeating that. And Nagelsmann himself, he's not going to wait for you. I'm sure all the clubs know how, again, are well acquainted with his talent as a young manager. I think he will go a long way. If Real get the chance, they get him. Even Barcelona, if they get the chance, they'd hire him. He will not wait for us. If we cannot get him now, that's it. And chances are we're not getting him now because I think, especially if we make it to the semi-final stages of the Champions League, Graham Potter keeps his job. It is that. It's not, I don't know. Plus, firing him, like I said, will compound the financial issues that we're seeing we have at the club right now. Porter will stay. It's that simple. It's enough to be a competitive team every year without winning trophies, and you can make good profit in the future. Yeah, you can, but you have to start by balancing the books. Otherwise, there's little you can do going future, except if the Premier League looks at the situation and say, you know what, we agree with you due to the sanctions and other situations. Then and then it will even stop you from selling club merchandise to again nearly a month or so. I don't remember how long. You know what? I think we give you a leeway. You go ahead, spend some more. But I doubt that will happen. It's Chelsea. If it happens, I'll be surprised. Let's see. We just barely pick marketing signings before fit signings. Maybe that was the case. If we don't get that club a CEO, director, lead administrator if we don't get him in, quickly before the summer, Chelsea will be in serious problem pretty soon. Bali should let our football people run this club like Roman. Here's the thing. I think he's doing his best. They've hired the technical director. Now they're planning. I'm sure they're looking for a sporting director, and they're not just looking for any sporting director. I think they're waiting for the likes of Campos and what's the one that worked with Liverpool and all that. I think they want the best for the club. But the problem is Porter. I think for me, if in my opinion, I think is our biggest problem right now. Which I don't think everything that we're going through is down to him. There are all the circumstances or factors that's contributed to that. The injuries didn't help. A lot of new players also isn't helping because it takes time for new players playing together to gel, if that makes sense. This says reaching UEFA Champions League knockout stage guarantees around 80 million. The participation in the Champions League guarantees 50 million euros. Winning the Europa League is only 40 million. A Conference League isn't worth a McDonald's. Wow. But at least it still brings in some cash. So maybe if it's not the Europa League, let's not go for the Conference League. It wouldn't make any sort of sense. But I think they'd go for anything that they know will help bring in any considerable, any sizable fee in the millions that will help balance the books. It's a concern to me, but Bali is the one who's backing Potter to remain in position, according to reports. Thank you. So that part of your comment there says, according to reports. There's no way to confirm that's the case, and I don't see it being the case. Other people did put in money into the purchase of the club. It's a concern. Chances are they vote. So I'm not sure. We're not sure who's backing who. Let's see what else we have here. I think Nagelsmann news is just a distraction to make fans quiet. The train for Nagelsmann was passed when we picked the Potter. That may well be the case. Yeah, I agree with you. So yes, people, thank you so much for 21 likes, but we can do better than that. If you haven't, take a second, drop a like on the stream, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. So yes, keep dropping the likes on the stream. Thank you so much for all your support. I appreciate that. So we move on from this one. It says Chelsea and Bayern Munich are talking now about a compensation payment for Anthony Barry. He wants to leave Chelsea. Yeah, let's see. I'm concerned that if he leaves, we get worse. Porter is now mid-table manager, but he can be good in the future. That's just being factual. Yeah, he can be good in the future, but how soon can he become good? We don't know. When he picks more experience, that is the thing. Who knows what can happen and what Porter can become? There's no telling the future. Yeah, every manager that has won the most trophies in the world started somewhere. So I agree with you. There's no telling the future. But do I want us to take that risk? No, I don't want us to take that risk because it's dangerous. If that makes sense. I was one of his biggest supporters, and the truth still remains is I'm still saying that. And there's a first for everything. That's a chance he turns it around tomorrow, learns from his mistakes, learn again. You can say look at areas and pay attention, do a self-assessment, find out areas where he's lacking, improve on those areas, and boom, things will turn around for him. But I want that to happen as soon as possible. I cannot be that patient forever. I want my club to succeed, really. If you get my argument. Thomas Bay, a big up, nice to see you. He said, ball is player targets and make it seem like he isn't worried. I think he's worried. Plus, there's no way to tell that all the players that we're being linked with, plus Romeo Lavia, even that of Moises Caicedo, that doesn't make any sort of sense. Moises Caicedo will probably cost something close to 100 million pounds, given the fact that Arsenal went in with 70 million and they rejected it. So that shows me that I don't think so. Some of those players. My point is, those players were being linked with. There's no way to tell that we're really linked with them. We feed on whatever the Twitter journalists and the media tell us. There's no way to confirm that we're seriously looking at those players. Especially, like I'm going to repeat myself again. The case of Moises Caicedo, it doesn't make any sort of sense. It's a signing that will not make any sort of sense. Or tell me that we're going to go in and pay 100 million plus or something close to 100 million for Vadio. It doesn't make any sort of sense because we're parked in that area. So chances are we're not going to be signing. We'll only sign an attacking player in the summer and that's it. Or maybe just one single player in the midfield area and that's it. But you never know. I agree with Chila, but I think Nagelsmann train has passed. That may well be the case. But Christopher Vivell, who's worked with him, there's a chance in the background he's pushing the club to get him. We don't know. But what we're hearing isn't all positive for Graham Potter because we're also hearing that Chelsea admire Nagelsmann. And the truth remains, he has experience working. He has experience working with young players and has, you can say, done pretty well with young players from Leipzig to Bayern or whatever club again he's coached. In the case of Graham Potter, you can say, yeah, he's worked with young players, but what has he achieved with young players? If you want to compare the two, if you're somebody's going to bring up the argument that Potter also has worked with young players. If that makes sense. Kachila, injuries were a problem. Yep, we have to mention that. As much as I have questions with regards to Graham Potter's tactical ability, we have to be truthful to ourselves. We had village of injured players, lots of them. The best, some of our best players were out for a while, and yeah, being factual, that doesn't help. And lots of new players, but I still. At those times that I was saying, yes, we have a lot of players out, but we should be doing better than we did in most cases. If that, we should have done better than we did in most cases. What will be the next excuse? Are those factors that didn't make a Potter play a 3-6-1 to protect a 1-0 lead? Yeah, I get it, but you forget my point. I'm not saying he's the best manager for us, but I'm just saying, yeah, I get it. Those factors also didn't help. Maybe that's a better way to face it. But owners think differently. Maybe they do. They rejected 70 million for Caicedo because Brighton didn't want to sell. Brighton will sell for less than 70 million in the summer after he extended his contract. And the fact that Arsenal are still interested and we're interested, and chances are all the clubs, by the time the season ends, there'll be other entrants. There'll be other clubs that probably would want to take him. I doubt that, but even at 70, 60, I think that still would be a lot of money to spend on the player. While the club, again, if you look at what's been happening in the club, you see that what's his name, Andreas Santos will most likely be part of the squad. So signing Casado would be a signing that wouldn't make sense, even though if we can find a way to do that, I'd take it because he's a fine player. Yeah, I understand. Let's see what happens. It would be, again, a big contract with Nagelsmann. Possibly, if you're going to sign him, he wants some measure of security. He'd like to sign a contract that if in a few months, if things aren't working out, you're not just going to dump him and say, we're done with you, it's not working. I don't think he would want that situation. It said if it's that confident enough with himself, he says, okay, let's start. Let's make it a 2-year contract. Then if things go the right direction, then we can extend. Modern day, usually these days you give managers a 3-year contract. Then if after again, when by the time that winds down and things work out are still going on well with the club and that manager in particular, then you extend. That's how clubs do things these days. Let's see. So it will be, again, big contract. Porter will stay in, and Porter will have next season. Yep. That's a chance that's the case because the financial situation, the loss, 121.3 million loss. I get it. We're still fine. We're still okay with the Premier League's profit and sustainability rule. But the truth is, yeah, it's right at the borderline. If we spend more and we get into trouble, don't bring in more, then I think we're in trouble, really. So firing him, like I said, will compound the situation, if that makes sense. Let's see, it will increase how much we need to bring in to balance the books. Anthony Barry should go. I am happy he is. Hopefully, the new assistant brings in a fresh perspective towards growth. That may well happen. Like I said, we could be worse off without him. There's a chance we'll be better off without him. There's a chance we get in someone else who's even better, who'd do more than just be a defensive coach. That may well be the case. Plus, the compensation we'll get from Bayern, that will help us balance the book a bit. At least, yeah, it's not going to do too much, but it will go a long way. It could finally stick. It could become financially sticky in the summer, and we may have to remain with Lukaku based on our finances. Based on our finance, this may be a reality. Of course, that makes sense because if we can't find a buyer, it's either we keep him or we terminate his contract. But I've heard the argument that it was the previous regime that signed him. So whatever happens with Lukaku, the L is not going to fall on the new owners. I'm not well acquainted as to how that works. But that's, by the way, I hope things don't get worse for my club because I love my club and I want my club to be doing well. So yes, people, thank you so much. If you're watching, if you haven't, take a second, drop a like on the stream and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. Thank you for 24 likes, but we should be doing better than that. Please, if you're commenting and if you're a mod, every now and then in the chat, please do remind people to drop a like on the stream. The likes do go a long way. Thank you so much for that. Let's see what else we have lined up here. This one here, it's another of the sign this player, sign player B, sign player C. This says Chelsea plan to sign another striker alongside Christopher Nkunku. To me, I wouldn't count Christopher Nkunku as a striker. I'd rather use the term forward because forward differ. He can be left forward, right forward, and I prefer to see him again either deeper as a 10. He even said in an interview that he's a number. He prefers to see himself. He sees himself as a 10. I'd rather him play again as a right forward or left forward, and not centrally as a 9, because he's an explosive player. He's good on the ball, doesn't shy away from taking an opposition player. If you play him centrally, I get it. Most likely a liquid approach, like Glenn would say, or maybe a fluid approach. I think you still be wasting his talent because he's a player can do more if he plays in behind the number 9 or as a second striker rather than being stationary there. I get it. Even in the fluid approach, sometimes that can stifles the player. You could say dwarf the player's ability to assert themselves in a game or so. Let's see what we have. A compensation for Barry would be like 2 million. That's still some money. It doesn't. You don't go to copper ratio. Then look at the ceiling and you see 2 million there. You. I get it. It's not easy, but I get it. It won't be that much, but it's something. At least we're getting something from there. Lukaku will be our striker next season. I don't see that happening. So our focus should be on finding the ideal defensive midfielder. Here's what I'm going to let you know. What I think will happen, what makes sense to me, that's my theory as to what I think is going to happen. My theory is this. I think the club will most likely sell off some of the most experienced players because those are the ones that will fetch more money. I think the club may well sell, what's his name, Kovacic, just because of that. I've heard if it becomes difficult to balance the books, I think Kovacic would most likely join the list of players to be sold, and then we'll see the club deciding to keep younger players. I am seeing the club decide. I see the club again coming season. I see that Fofana stay. Yeah, there's a chance he stays. There's a chance some loan players we didn't even expect to stay. There's a chance they come back and they stay. And if that happens, then Graham Potter will most likely be given the time, if we have younger players, or maybe someone like Nagelsmann, if he's still available, will come in, because it becomes seriously a project with it. Probably it will become one of the youngest teams in the Premier League, which means you're not going to get an elite manager to come say, I want to be the one to lead this project, and which wouldn't make any sort of sense. You'd be looking for managers like Graham Potter or Nagelsmann, who's experienced in terms of working with young players. So my point is, there's a chance come next season, a lot of the experienced players will leave, and we have lots of young players, and that's what Fofana staying. I don't see the club going out spending that close to 100 million for Victor Osimhen. Let's not even get into the argument whether Osimhen will work at Chelsea or not. The question is, do I think the club will have the luxury to spend that much money on a single player, which is also a risk no matter how you see it. Even if he scored 100 goals this season alone, it's still a risk. Because if anybody told us that Lukaku will come to Chelsea and not still measure the sort of form or produce the sort of form he showed at Inter, I think a lot of us will say no. Except those of us that realize on time that Thomas Tuchel usually don't use traditional number 9s. But we'll move on from that. It's not really not that simple. Let's see what we have here. Yep. Nkunku is the Mount replacement. Why can't people see that clearly? Possibly, I'm not sure. But I wouldn't say he's a Mount replacement because he's not he's not as hardworking as Mount, really. He's not going to bring us that pressing that you can get from Mount. If I'm being factual, as much as I think Mount isn't the best player at Chelsea, he isn't the worst. He has he's in a bad run of form right now. Plus, he has something that he offers that not many players at the club can offer. No one will pay Lukaku 8 million low fee. It's a dilemma on its own. 2 million to cover for 126 million deficit. That's negligible. But here's the I think if it was 121, then he makes it 190. 120, then it makes it 119, so to speak, if that makes sense. Potter staying next season will compound our financial woes because we will not make a top 4 again. Based on his statistics and his fetish of Arteta, he's not a marketable brand. Beyond the brand, I think, like I said, if we end up having a financial problem, they're not going to fire him because that will compound the situation by 50 million plus. Plus, I don't know how else to phrase it. I hope that's not the case, but it's simple mathematics. I get it. The whole thing, when you look at it, it says, but what's fine, we're fine. We haven't broken any rules. We're still good. Yeah, I get it. But the moment, again, if the situation compounds for one reason or the other, Potter isn't leaving because that would be adding another 50, compounding the situation by 50 million. If that makes sense. City, and City and TT are interested in cover. We should really keep them and sell them some other player. I wouldn't advocate for the club to sell Kovacic. It would be a huge mistake. I think in terms of our playing ability, we'll be in serious trouble if we sell Kovacic. I don't know. I know he's not the most prolific against scorers in the team. He's not the one to produce double digits in terms of assists in the team. But his importance cannot be overstated. That's all I have to say right now. So I'm going to catch up with the chat, then we'll switch to the next topic. Here we have, we will balance our books in 3 transfer windows. That makes 45 million. Three transfers, you're saying, makes 45 million. Good luck. And here's the thing, there has to be, if we have about 2-3 clubs vying for his signature, then you could say there's a chance we get that much from him. Pulisic, 35, maybe. He has just a year left on his contract. And these are players that you must say they've not been in prolific form. They've not been in scintillating form, maybe, if that's how you want to say it. And that's 100 million. Yeah, it sounds that easy, but it's not that simple, really. All the transfers will be a bonus. Let's see what happens. But is it easy to sell players? No, because the buying club would have to be able to pay the player there to come close to measure their, especially in the case of Hakim Ziyech, Christian Pulisic, the buying club would have to be able to pay them their current something close to what they're earning, or maybe there's a chance they'd be looking for something twice. They'd be looking to start earning twice as much as they're earning right now. Then that becomes an issue. So it's really not that simple. And if you paid attention to all the problems we have in terms of selling the players we have, we've had issues selling players because of their salary. Ross Barkley, a prime example, Drinkwater, a prime example, because no club will pay them that much money in terms of salary. So it becomes difficult. It's not that simple, but I know we will overcome. That's how I want to see it. Sell Kovacic and get a Kone, sell Mount and Gallagher and get Casado. Then you're not balancing the books. You're selling and spending at the same time. We can sell and buy players and balance the books. It's not that simple. No, if you're selling and buying, then it'd be difficult to balance the books. Maybe that's a better way to phrase it. Coach, why did CFC extend Marcus Bettinelli's contract? Do we really need him? He's a goalkeeper. I don't know what they see in him that made them want to keep him. I'm not sure. I don't think they just decided to extend his contract. I think he counts the homegrown quota. I think he counts. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure what to make of that one, to be honest. We've got a lot of sellable players. Yao need to calm concerns about our finances. Okay, if you say so. No Champions League with Potter still at the helm. Forget about signing Osimhen and all the stars. This reality is upon us. Lukaku will lead our attack next season. There's a chance that happens. There's a chance the club say, we don't want your toxicity here, because chances are he comes in, creates some problems in the dressing room, and then we're in trouble. Kachila, I disagree with you. Selling Kovacic will not be a mistake. Okay, you have every right to disagree with me. That's how I see it. He will leave a gaping hole that will be very difficult to fill. And if we're able to fill that quickly, that's fine. I get it. He doesn't score too many goals, but we'll look back and say if we had Kovacic, we would be able to play against these guys, even though they're pressing us so aggressively and all that. We've had situations where we've lost players of unique abilities that we haven't replaced. We haven't replaced, for instance, Willian. We haven't even replaced, what's his name? Pedro. We haven't replaced Fabregas, even Juan Matic. Those players, we haven't replaced them. But you're entitled to your argument there. Good afternoon to you too, my bro, DJ. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. Sincerely do appreciate that. DJ says, I expect more on people wanting to leave. Anthony Barry, our defensive coach, has already submitted a request to leave us. Bayern will need to pay compensation. Yep, I've read that. The question I want to ask you is this: do you think we'll be worse off without Anthony Barry? I think so. And except if I hear we'll sign a certain defensive coach too, who's also as good as Anthony Barry. Maybe we need a fresh start, like Martin O did say. There's a chance we're bringing someone else. Then they'd be able to work with Potter better than Barry did. Dexter S. Afternoon or Matt Law, I said a while back that there's a termination clause in Potter's contract, so he wouldn't cost 50 million to sack him. Okay, I need more. I need to learn what more is in that. And just an update that AD shared with me. Bayern Munich have now made a compensation offer to take Anthony Barry, but it's well short of Chelsea's valuation of the manager. I'm not sure how much we're thinking we're going to get. He's put in a transfer request. That makes a huge difference. That to me, it simply means we're not going to get that too much money from him. It's not looking good anymore. I think if he stays, I think from the next thing I'm reading here for an update from AD, which says exclusive Chelsea coach Anthony Barry to stay away from Cobham and Stamford Bridge while Bayern Munich haggle over his release, which means the relationship now is dead. If he ends up not joining Bayern, he won't be a good presence in the dressing room anymore. So it wouldn't make any sort of sense. So he will most likely join Bayern Munich, and they will most likely get their way in terms of how much they're willing to pay. If again, my point is, since he has gotten to the extent of him not being, he's not going to be at Cobham, a Chelsea coach Anthony Barry, to stay away from Cobham and also Stamford Bridge. Yep, that means if the relationship is dead, he leaves no matter what happens, and Bayern will get their way in terms of how much they're willing to pay to take him, if that makes sense. Let me see what DJ says. I asked him the question whether he thinks Barry leaves us. I think it will be worse off, but there's a chance, like Martin O says, someone else comes in and have a better working relationship with Graham Potter, and they're able to communicate better and get the team firing on all cylinders. With these new owners, my fear is we're going to have Manchester United situation occurring at Chelsea. All the old guard under the previous regime have gone. Slowly, the old blueprint we had is gone. I guess you have every right to call it a blueprint. But Barry wants to leave. In this case, Barry himself wants to leave. The club wants to keep him. If the club didn't want to keep him, he would have left by now. But the fact that he had to ask to leave means we wanted to keep him. But his case is different. But I get where you're coming from. I'm not sure. Refreshing things again. These things happen when you buy an organization. You have every right to change the style. But I think it's becoming too many. One thing I will never go into talking about the groundsman getting fired. That's the list of my concerns. And the only thing I'll ask question: why was Thomas Tuchel sacked? Anthony Barry wants to leave. So they haven't done much wrong except firing Thomas Tuchel. That's how I see it. Sell 14 players and CFC can raise a 340 million. Buy 4 players for 240 million, and that's 100 million in plus. Good mathematics there. But how easy it is really to sell how many players? 14 players. How simple is it? Tell me how easy it is to sell 14 players. And I'm guessing the 14 players you're mentioning, majority of them are part of the first team makeup. And here's the thing: one thing you're not accounting for. If you sell that many first team players and sign that many, bring in a lot of players in. I'm not sure how many you're going to bring in. We already have too many new players. If we bring in more new players, which means the time we need for the team to gel and start playing as a unit will extend, if that makes sense to you. But I get where you're coming from. Selling isn't that easy. Our corner defense will improve now. Maybe, if that's how you see it. So fine. You think we'll be better off without Anthony Barry. There's a chance that's the case. But let's see. We should ask for a big compensation for Barry. His head was never with us. I may have been communicating with TT all this while. That's a possibility. Honestly, that's a possibility, and good comment right there. I wouldn't say that's not the case because since Tuchel wants him and Tuchel made it public, which means they've been talking. That's a chance they've been talking. If Barry goes, Kuchila, we can replace him, but still not good for the club. I don't think, I wouldn't say it's not good for the club because he asked to leave. He was the one, he asked to leave. And I'm quite sure if the club wanted to let him go, they would have done that long before now. And I'm going to repeat myself again. The fact that he had to put in a transfer request means the club wanted to keep him. Because you don't put in a transfer request if Bayern not, he shouldn't have put it again, gone in with the transfer request. Had Bayern, again, had the situation been that when Bayern knocked on the door, Chelsea said, okay, you have our blessings. Thank you for your service. But he had to put in one because probably the club didn't want to let him go. Yeah, and I think that compounds how, again, the bad blood between Chelsea and Thomas Tuchel. I think it does now. First, I heard the club wasn't happy that he made his intention public, that the fact that he wants Anthony Barry to join his backrooms, to join his staff, he made it public. I think that's not okay, but I wouldn't make too much of it. After all, the way they let him go wasn't okay. But that's, by the way, that's the least of my concerns, really. I don't want Osimhen. I want Tone. I don't want Osimhen, not because he's not a good footballer. He's an excellent footballer. And I'm going to keep repeating myself, let's keep the topic aligned. Here's the thing. If Jose Mourinho was our manager, I would say bring in Osimhen. And I like Osimhen. He's a fine footballer. He's a very unique attacker. He has pace, power, good ball control, good aerially. He has a good leap in him, can score with his head, both feet, and also can drop deep and help in most cases. But how we play, I'm going to say that at least in the attacking area, Graham Potter preference to a more fluid attack. Osimhen has played all his life as a point man. Point man in the sense that whenever he's on the pitch, whatever team he plays for, once they get to the final thought, once they get to the opposition box, nearly every goal scoring opportunity gets channeled through him. Or let's say a lot of the goal scoring opportunity gets channeled through him. And once he joins the team and that's not happening, he becomes frustrated. And also after paying 100 million for him, and all again see him majority of the times dropping deep, creating chances. Just like, let's say, for instance, in the case of Timo Werner, dropping deep or playing on the flanks, creating chances for his teammates, that will not be enough. People will start complaining that we've wasted money. So I don't, and again, plus, given where we find ourselves, I don't think we'll be spending that much money on a striker, something close to 100 million. I remember Napoli paid 100 million euros for him, close to 80 million euros for him. So knowing De Laurentiis, he would like to make some gain and probably wouldn't let him go. And I don't think Osimhen I don't see the possibility of us getting him. If it happens, fine. I hope it works if it happens after all. Big up everyone in the chat. Katila, we got 36 players and need only 25. Thank you for that mathematics. 36 minus 14 is equal to 21. So 4 new players will make up the numbers. You did some good calculations there. The question is, it's not that easy to sell players. The process is complex. Some of them are already on a salary that the buying club probably are not going to be willing to pay, which is why some of them are still at Chelsea in the first place. Nkunku and Havertz will play behind the striker. Sterling, Gallagher, Modric, and Modric. Carney on the bench. We are stacked. Mace is quality, but can go, and we will be fine. I think it's looking more likely that he's going to leave. I will not be surprised if Mahrez departs next season. I am surprised that Paulie hasn't sacked her since he wants to eliminate everything. You can say employer that was hired by Roman Abramovich. Kashila, Porto plays a more fluid attack is a myth. How is 361? Do I know you were going to come up with something like that? I do know you will do that, and you just did. But that's, by the way, let's move on from that one. Osimhen go to Chelsea, like I seen. I don't know where he goes. But this year, I think I'll just say it's all rumors. Whether we like him or not, whether we're able to balance the books, or whether the Premier League say to us, because we've gone to them and say, please, can you something to the effect of, can you give us some leeway, given the fact we had some bans, or some of the situation we had under Roman Abramovich during the sanctions and all that, that limited our income, and which is why we found ourselves in this situation. And the good thing is that the previous year we still made gains, but it still wasn't enough to cancel out the whole thing and get us on the positive side of the financial situation. It didn't happen. But that's, by the way, yeah. So it depends on where we find ourselves. Maybe Bali have something more with. I'm not going to do that. In terms of our losses, the fact Roman was sanctioned by the government, what were people expecting? He did wipe out the 1.5 billion in debt. Okay, before Todd Bali and the consortium bought us. Yep, that's a different thing altogether. Yep, I get that. That's not an issue. We would have been in a serious situation had that been the case. Kuchila, I agree with you. It's not easy to sell players. Just when I thought you really do agree with me, you're going back to same pot. But players, we have no choice. We are obliged to sell to balance the books. So maybe we do a fire sale. Maybe it doesn't matter how much you're selling them for, which wouldn't make any sort of sense. So, but I get where you're coming from. And that's, by the way, let me see what else would have here. Rice, James, or Mason Mount to do what? I'm not sure. If we're going to sell Kova, then get Bellingham. If we sell Kova for the purpose of balancing books, we're not going to get Bellingham. I would take who to Manchester United. Okay, good luck with those lucky scene. I hope you're doing well. So we'll move on from this particular topic. Chelsea plan to sign another. Yeah, we've looked at that one. This one here is, I'm not sure. I think I'm tired with this, really. Every day or every week, we keep hearing N'Golo Kante is close to signing a new contract. And this one here is no different. It says, I understand N'Golo Kante is on the verge of extending his contract. We've been hearing that for the past month, for the past 2 months. Get it done already, or stop talking about it. This is more like recycling something that people would be interested in, listening. N'Golo Kante, new contract for how many months now? About 3 months now. Get it done, or stop talking about it. But anyway, it says, I understand that N'Golo Kante is on the verge of extending his contract. Chelsea bosses want him to stay, and talks with the players, management are going well. There's a clear tendency at this stage Kante will stay beyond this season. Yeah, get it done already, please. Let's stop talking about it. We've been talking about this for about how many months now? Let's say 3 months. But that's, by the way, if you're watching, if you haven't, please take a second, drop a like on the stream, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. And also, I want to take this opportunity to thank those that are watching, but for one reason or the other are not able to participate in the chat. Please, you can, if you can, please do us one tiny bit of favor. Take a second, drop a like on the stream. The likes do go a long way. It helps us reach more people. So if you haven't, drop a like on the stream, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you for 33 likes, but we should be doing better than that. Yeah, take them if you want, if you can. Barilla is good. Barilla is good. Replacement for Kova. I love Barilla. Nicolo Barilla, the Italian international, plays for Inter Milan. He's an excellent passer of the ball. Barilla, you can say he's a mashup of Fabregas. He's a mashup of Fabregas and Kovacic, and he can also finish. He has a great vision. What a player he is! If we can get Barilla, I'd take him. I say, okay, maybe now you can sell Kova, but I don't think we can get him, because before the transfer window shut, the rumors are Chelsea, the world favorites, to sign Nicolo Barilla. Should he decide he wants to leave Inter Milan? Has he decided he wants to leave Inter Milan? No. I think we started scouting him since the time of Antonio Conte. We wanted to sign him then. He was still very, very young at that point, but we weren't able to get him. He's a player I love so much, and if we can get him, I'd take him. He would be a good, a player to bring in if we decide we want to sell Kovacic, but it'd be difficult. It's not going to come cheap. Buy this FC. Yeah, I get it. Zalani, I hope you're doing well. Bellingham going Champions League club, possibly, most likely. Kante's agent is doing this to get the club to up the money a bit, but the club isn't budging. I'm not well acquainted with what's going on there. I'm guessing that is just speculation. That's what you think is going on with regards to the negotiation between the N'Golo Kante's camp and Chelsea Football Club. Let's see what we have here. I know my club looked at Kovacic. I don't think Chelsea will be willing to sell Kovacic to an English club. Except if you have one player that we want, maybe we'll start talking. Enzo, Kante, Kovacic, Santos, Kearney for next season. I'm not going to be counting the eggs before they hatch. I'm still not sure. I'm going to say this. Given the financial situation, I'm still not sure how many players we're going to be able to sign come next season, if that makes. And something else I want us to talk about. Let's talk about this right now before we move to the next topic we have lined up there. Saka Madik is very good option for cover. I don't know that player. I can't just pretend I know every player, but I don't know that player in question. Let's talk about Graham Potter right now. Just maybe be specific about it. I know we probably, during, again, the course of this particular discussion, talked about it a bit. The financial, the 121.3 million loss makes it even more difficult for the club to fire Graham Potter, if that makes any sort of sense. And I'm going to let me try to explain it even further. That's what I think. That's my theory. If you think I'm mistaken, let me know. I'm not an expert by any stretch of imagination. I'm open to learning from what you have to say. If they fire Graham Potter now, and if in fact they have to spend something close to 50 million plus, or something close to 60 million with regards to compensation, him and his backroom staff, then that compounds the financial situation, the issue we're having right now by 50 million. And that's a lot. And that's why I'm saying it's not that simple to let Graham Potter go. And there's a chance that may well have been the reason why they haven't let him go. It's not that simple. Because the result at one point, you could say, had it not been for that, it'd be easy to let him go. But because of that, it won't be easy. They still say, okay, let's give him time and see if he turns things around and save some money, if that makes sense. We can add Zach Ryan. He will not be expensive, but it's still a complicated one. It's not that easy to get it done. Probably, I'm not sure if he ends up joining Chelsea anymore. I get it. He likes Chelsea and he's talked about Chelsea more often and how he wants to come and compete with Kai Havertz, Mason Mount, and all those players. But there's more to that. The political situation, the crisis in this country, between this country and the neighboring country, also has made it difficult. And I don't think it ever going to happen. Let's see what we have here. Coach, never trust a source that starts a sentence with "I understand." Educate me, bro. My bro, the beautiful game. Educate me. I need to learn from you. Nobody is perfect, but thank you for saying that. Let me get through it. It says, Coach, never trust a source that starts a sentence with "I understand." It usually means that the story is not necessarily true, and the news is according to their understanding. Sky do it all the time. Honestly, I haven't been doing this, even though I'm into research on that, knowing how to phrase something, not to be subjective, but objective. I think I should have learned this long before now, but thank you. I appreciate that. I'm learning a huge lesson here. Maybe that's why you're my brother, but I still don't like you anyway. But thank you for that. I appreciate that. Much love, brother. Let's see what else we have here. Kachila, who are you going to blame for this financial mess? I don't know. I don't know the genesis of it, and I hate talking about it. I just know that it's there, and whatever discussion I want to have about it starts with how much is it and what problems it can cause for us, if that makes sense. And one problem that it can cause for us is that probably most likely will not be spending that much money in the summer, except if we hear from the Premier League and say, okay, you know what? Again, this is me repeating myself because of the sanction and all that, and the ban from sales of merchandise and all that. Okay, you have a leeway. You can spend something close to certain amount. Then that changes, but it doesn't change anything. It could get worse if we miss out of the Champions League and not win the Champions League. Give me a second, please. So yeah, the situation is not that simple, if you get what I mean. Thank you, people, for 36 likes. Yes, thank you. You people are absolute legends. Let's get it to 50 to 100 as soon as possible. We hardly do 100 once the transfer window is shut, but we can do better than that. But we have 61 plus, up to 70 before. Loyal fans watching. Why can't we get it to at least 60 likes? If you're watching, if you haven't, please do us a favor. Even if you cannot participate in the chat, drop a like on the stream. Let's get it to 50 to 100 as soon as possible. The likes do go along with. Thank you so much. So I'm not going to blame anybody because I truly do not know the genesis of it all. And I can only start discussing about it from how much it is and what problems it can cause for us. It's not good to put politics in football. No success with that way. Zacharian is not guilty. Yeah, he's not guilty in any way. But unfortunately, I think if the country in question will make any measure, will make any measure of financial or economic gain from the sale of the player, then yeah, it becomes an issue. But I don't want to get into that. Or I missed the point. No, you didn't. You're very correct. Politics has encroached into football, and unfortunately, it doesn't go away. Yeah, exactly. He hasn't done anything wrong. I'm avoiding reading that because I don't want us to go down the path of again. Before you know it, we inadvertently will start talking about politics. I need defensive midfield. Mason Mount will fit this perfectly. Oh, okay. If you guys can pay enough, I think the club would not. I wouldn't mind selling Mason Mount to Manchester United. True, Kachila, it makes it difficult to fire Potter. And on the other hand, Potter makes it worse to raise finances by not qualifying the Champions League for Champions League football. I think you're missing the word now, that guy, but I understand. Yeah, it makes it very difficult. That may well have been the case. They haven't let him go. There's a chance tomorrow Potter himself, I hope that happens, becomes the best manager in the world because that's a first for everything. As much as I have questions, I still believe as a human, we'll learn and we get better. But yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm concerned. The Blue TV game says you cannot let Potter go and still pay him his. You can, okay, not can't. You can let Potter go and still pay him his salary, and not pay it in bulk. So that's look at you. Look at that's a smart move there. You can still, you can let Potter go and still pay him his salary until he finds another job. What if he decides, you know what, I'm retiring with this? That's enough. That's enough money to retire. But the only issue becomes he's not going to get it in the bulk until he finds another job. To take up employment, he will have to resign. Then we win. Yep. To take up another job, if he really loves football that much and would want to continue coaching, he'd have to resign, and then we win. But it's not that simple. No manager will want to sit at home getting paid to do nothing. I think he gets paid enough that he can start a business and still furnish that business very well from how much he gets yearly or weekly or yearly, if that makes sense. But I get it's a good idea. That's I heard Bayern is doing the same with Nagelsmann, and I think we did the same. Who did we do that? Did we do that with? Didn't we do that with Lampard? I think we did the same with Lampard too. So it's not a bad suggestion there. It's not, but most likely he stays, given the financial situation, because we need to balance the book. Again, a firing Graham Potter compounds the issue by 50 million plus. If that makes sense. But thank you. Bolly said, I am Okay, Bolly said, beginning of year, in the beginning of year, okay, they will find other ways to generate revenue than just Champions League. I hope they do that. But the question is, if they find those ways, will it become? Will it see ourselves in a situation where it doesn't matter whether we make it to top four or not? I hope that doesn't happen. Did you see Pulisic play last night? I didn't watch the last night game, so no, I did not. Sorry about that. But say what you want to say about it. We get to talk about it. I wouldn't call it a mess. CFC have a bucket loads of cash, but are you allowed to spend it? You're not allowed to spend it as you wish. The issue is balancing the books for FFP, which is not so difficult. We have a bloated squad, so eventually we will balance better than no money. Yeah, we're better than not having any. And again, saying we have loads of cash doesn't mean we can spend it however we want. No, there's still rules in place which says this is how much we can spend or how much we cannot spend. We always have lost, but the reason why it's not out there was because Mr. Abramovich always puts his money at the end of the year to clear a bit of some losses before the statement. Yeah, I heard that he's found a way to do that, and he helped. Presinho, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. I think under the new regime, we're probably hearing a lot. Everything that happens in terms of loss, we'll hear everything. Nothing gets written up. Big Dickens says our replacement for Mason Mount is Lewis Hall. What? Lewis Hall is a more technical gifted than Mason Mount, at least in my opinion. Mason Mount is more hardworking than maybe or better at pressing than Lewis Hall. But I'm not going to get into that. Bayern act like a big club. Chelsea act like a Brighton. A big difference. Bayern is a big club. Big up to you, my bro, the real James. Nice to see you, bro. Thank you so much. Much love to you. I appreciate all the love. And if you're watching, if you haven't taken a second, drop a like on the stream. And please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And thank you. I'm going to do a membership giveaway probably tomorrow. I'm not sure. Or maybe when I come back from Texas, I need to give free membership to some of the OGs here. And if you're watching, if you haven't, we have a membership, and before, I think probably middle of next month, we'll start members only shows. That doesn't mean every other person is still very important, but members only shows probably. I'm not going to say anything about the design of the show right now, but if you want to become a member, it costs just $2.99. That will help the channel start a program planned to help students every month. I've been a student myself. And I would really want us to start something to helping students every month. If that will allow us to help us to help students every month, and the membership will help. Yep, I've read your comments. Will Potter get another job with so high a salary? It's another side of coin. It's another side of the coin, which shows that by keeping him longer, we're reducing the market value of his asset. Here's the thing. I'm not sure what to make of that. I think if he leaves, that's a big if. If he loses his job as Chelsea manager, I don't know because he didn't win anything with Chelsea. It's not like, well, if he leaves now. I'm not saying I don't know. I can't foretell the future. There's a chance he stays for another 10 years and won 10, 20 trophies with us. But if he leaves now without winning anything and with all the back patches of performance, clubs that would want to hire him don't care how many injuries we had out when we struggled. I don't think any club would be willing to pay him that much money again to join them, if that makes sense. Yeah, but I get where you're coming from. What else do we have here? I know we all want results now, but owners think differently. And whether you want it or not, I don't think the results will come immediately, given how many changes will make the team. But I'm still arguing we should be doing better than we're doing. So I hope Potter can be better in the future with more experience. Hope dies last. Wow, what a way. That's the best comment I've ever seen from you, really. And I love it. I think as the show progressed, a few minutes into the show, or let's say an hour into the show, so you did mention something, and you and I agree. if he can learn, he still has the opportunity again with the squad to achieve quite a lot, and it helps his reputation. If only he can, you can say take a self assessment and say here's where I'm lacking, and here's where people are saying about me that are the truth. And I like it that he said the criticism has been fair, which means he's learning. I want to see something that shows he's learning. He keeps his job. We start doing well, but I still have questions until proven otherwise, if that makes sense. So I hope Potter can be better in the future with more experience. But the question is, are they going to be patient with him to gain that experience with Chelsea? That's a chance they don't have no option. They have no option than to do so, given what we've talked about. If they have to let him go now, it compounds the financial situation we'll find ourselves in by 50 million plus. That is if, in fact, the club has to pay him that much of money as compensation, if that makes sense. Let's see, Coach. They're going to suck up poor Stanford the Lion and and still keep Potter, and that will infuriate you, right? Yeah, maybe the kitchen lady next, if that's what you want to talk about. We can spend as much as we like. We would just be punished by being removed from UEFA Champions League for a year. But we are not there. We're not there anyway. Next year, maybe. What about if we're in a situation where if they do a 10-point deduction, then we'll start fighting for relegation or maybe get relegated. But I don't think breaking the financial rules will lead to that extent or measure of punishment. Lewis Hall is a baller. He's a serious baller, and I want to see him progress on this with the current team. A direct replacement for any player doesn't exist. You have every player is different and special in so many ways. You're speaking differently this morning. Football doesn't work like that. I agree with you. Good morning, Norton. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much, guys, for 41 likes. Let's get it to 50 and shoot for 100 as soon as possible. Thank you so much. I think we've had some issues with the timing. I just learned today. I think my time went back 1 hour. So the show will be starting earlier than usual at least for me. Roger, a big up to you, brother. I hope you're doing well. How are you doing?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. To you too. You sound like a southern man. Yeah, but I don't even know how to speak with that accent. But that's by the way, Roger. I'm going to start you with let's talk about Anthony Barry. Your thoughts? Do you have any issues that Thomas Tuchel made his intentions publicly that he wants Anthony Barry? To me, I wouldn't see that as anything. But him leaving, is that a concern for you? Do you?
No.
For some people in the chat are saying we'll probably be better off because we've been poor defensively. We haven't done well in terms of defending set piece and all that. But your thoughts?
So he's our set piece coach, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I know he's spoken of quite highly by several people, but to be honest with you, let's look at how we've done at set pieces this year. Offensively, we've been poor. Defensively, at best, we've been poor. We've been putrid, horrible, inept. Mm-hmm. So if we were like leading the league in set pieces and scoring and defensively not conceding, then I would have an issue perhaps. But I don't see him moving on.
Yeah, just quickly, I know UEFA cannot deduct points. My concern with regards to point deduction was the Premier League. That was why I talked about relegation and all that. Go ahead, Roger. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So I don't see him as a loss. And listen, we've just raided Brighton's backroom staff. Literally the whole, I believe everyone, if I'm not mistaken. Well, the only people we didn't bring in was their groundskeepers. So we are in no position to complain about someone raiding our staff because we have literally plundered another club. So this happens, coach. This happens when someone, for instance, Graham Potter is fired today, goes and coaches another team. He will probably wish to take certain people with him. And that's just the nature of the beast. So this has been going on since time immemorial. It's not an issue.
So we've been subbed again. how's that saying? We've been served our own medicine. Is that something?
Yeah, a taste of our own medicine.
Yeah.
For the most part. Yeah,
Mhm.
I wouldn't look at it as a slight. I would just look at it as standard business practice. It's
Mhm.
that simple, and it's not just in sports. It's like if you have a director or a CEO that leaves and becomes a CEO of another company, he usually takes directors or VPs with him. As does any level of management usually
Mhm. Mhm.
recruiting, even though you're not supposed to. But this is the norm nowadays, so it's not a biggie. And no disrespect to this chap Barry, but we have been very poor on set pieces in all
So
aspects.
maybe he's
So
not been working well. That combo of him and Potter hasn't really worked.
precisely,
Yeah.
may not
So
it may not be
Martin
his
O'Day
fault
say something similar. This particular member in that I'm highlighting his comment, he did say something saying that we need to maybe without him we do well actually. So let him
who,
move on. Go
who
ahead, Roger, with
knows.
what you were saying.
Yeah, who knows? It may not be Barry's fault. Who knows? It could be
Mhm.
a myriad of things. It really could be. So it'll be inexcusable of me to blame Barry per se, because there could
Mhm.
be other extenuating circumstances that we're not privy to. So I don't know the
Mhm.
gentleman, and for me to sit here and berate him or criticize him without any justification, that's kind of, yeah, that's not, that's rather low of me to do that, because I don't know how he operates or anything, but I'm just looking at the picture from an outsider that we haven't been successful in that department. That's all I mean.
Yep. Thank you so much for that, Richard. Always nice to have you on the panel. Chelsea will not be affected by UEFA FFP if we're not. Yeah, somebody have explained that before. Only the Premier League rules apply. Hence, just a positive net spend will be in line. Will be fine, so to speak. So let's see. I hope so. A bigger project from Jesse asking how you're doing. What you think
I
about?
don't
I
know.
don't know that player. I don't know that player. If I know them, I'll talk about him.
I don't know.
League position plus a salary plus no Champions League plus low morale plus eventual relegation. Bolly's decision to employ Potter cost far more than we can imagine. Dark days ahead. Speaking of which, hello Roger. So
Oh, wow, what
you
a
saw
slam!
yeah, he
Yeah,
saw you.
yeah, I saw that coming.
Mhm. And he
Good.
saw you on the he heard your voice before he went on that rant there and mentioned,
A
I'm
lot of
pretty
pluses
sure
there.
our new signed players on the Bali will have reduced a salary because no Champions League. I'm not sure. Here's the thing. One thing I want to say, I'm not saying we're in trouble right now. But I'm concerned because after everything, after the 21 million again fiscal year loss and all that, I don't know if that's the term for it. Yeah, we're still good, but it brings us closer. It brings us closer, more closer and closer to having financial issues. So we can't just continue. That's why I said we can't just continue spending if we don't balance the books. If we don't bring it up, at least bring it to a positive line, then it gets worse. Then we might in the future find ourselves in the same situation as Barcelona the past year and or so. So there's no problem right now with that. But on its own, it's a problem because a loss is always a problem. But it hasn't gotten to the extent that FA would say, "Oh no, you guys are in trouble." No, but it's close. So, Roger, your thoughts on the loss and where that leaves us in terms of how much we're going to be able to spend in the summer. Your thoughts on 121.3 million pounds loss the past year,
Yeah,
and the truth is, it's not a problem because we still made some gains also, but still not able. That wasn't able to bring the whole thing to a positive line. But your thoughts?
I believe that a lot of that has to do with, well, I wouldn't say a lot, but some of it has to do with the fact that we weren't able to sell, products that that belongs to Chelsea, like shirts, advertising,
Mm-hmm.
certain things that we couldn't. We were handcuffed for all intents and purposes. So
Mm-hmm.
for I don't know how many months it was, but that will be taken into consideration. So that bottom line, that year fiscal ending sum it's somewhat conflated. So it's under true circumstances. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
selling players. You have a look. We have a squad of about 33 players to 34 players, but then we have 22 on loan. 22.
Okay.
So we have about 55 to 57 players. That's a lot, coach. So we can raise money. There are players that, if you look at the players that we have on loan, there's quite a lot. You've got people like, and I don't mean to swear, Lukaku. Hudson
Mm-hmm.
Odoi.
So
Um,
Lukaku has become a swear word.
yeah, I mean, have we terminated Bakayoko's contract? I thought we
Yeah,
had.
he's gone.
Yeah, okay. Well, he's still listed, so we got 21 players
No,
out
no,
on
no,
loan.
I'm not sure about Bakayoko. No,
Oh,
Baka
okay.
for sure is gone. Bakayoko,
Oh
no.
yeah. Barkley's definitely gone. Yeah, that was Dijon Sterling, Barbara Ruckman. There's loads. Henry Lawrence, Bashir Humphreys, Ian Marston. Levi Colwell, Ethan Ampadu, Malang Sarr. There's plenty of players that we could
Mm-hmm.
sell. If we want to, we could raise, let's say, 30 to 50 million, realistically, from the sale of about half a dozen to 10 players, let's say. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about if the financial fair play includes losses being amortized over a certain period of time, or is it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Where does it have to be the last 3 years? It's a rolling index. So does that apply? I don't know. Will we be given special circumstances based on the fact that what the transition that we went through, being basically put in those financial restrictions by the government? So I think we have consideration for certain circumstances that we can apply for. Um, not going to Europe. Let's be realistic here, coach. Let's. Not that I want that, but I think we have about a 1% chance of winning the Champions League. So I think we can safely say that we're not going to be in the Champions League next year. I'm not being pessimistic. I'm just being realistic. For all intents and purposes, is it possible? Yes, of course it is. Is it realistic? Probably not. Let's be honest here. So we're going to miss out on 30 to 50 million euros next year. Now, if we can make the Europa League, we can maybe reduce that loss by 50% or so, which is fine.
But overall, my point is it makes the whole thing difficult for us.
Yeah, not really, coach. Not really. Now, if we have an extended stay of absence from the Champions League, yes. But if it's a 1 year blip, so to speak, then
No,
not
I'm saying
really.
no. I'm saying in terms of the loss overall, makes it difficult for us to just go into the market and sign players. For us to sign players, we have to balance the book a bit. We have to sell players. It's not like we don't have the luxury of saying we can sign. We don't have to wait to sell before we sign. But go ahead with what you were saying.
Well, don't forget, because of the fact that these new owners have purchased Chelsea under Bowley, this leadership team, this new owners, they're allowed to spend X amount of euros/pounds/ any currency for a certain amount of time, as they consider that part of the purchase and investment. I think it's for the first 12 months, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm,
So you can look at not balancing the book. Like, for instance, we could buy player A, B, and C, and sell players E, F, and G, and let's say we have a negative balance of 50
E, F, and
million.
G. That's not.
But you know what I'm saying? Come on, coach, work with me on this one.
No, I understand what you're saying. It just sounds like you were cursing, but go.
No, but basically, this is what we can do. Listen,
Yeah, no, it
Lukaku
makes sense. It just sometimes, again, I get it. I'm just saying how it sounded, E-F-N-G, but just go ahead.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, but no. Listen, how I think Lukaku is a serious issue here, financially speaking.
It is. And do you see what we have on the screen?
Yeah,
We should program Nightbot to time out anyone using the L word.
yeah.
Maybe we should do that. But go ahead, brother.
But seriously, what happens to him? Does he? Because he is coming back, according to Milan's coach or sporting director or owner, whoever he was, about a couple of weeks ago. So
Because they can't even buy him. Even if we're saying Lukaku for around 30, 40 million, they can't buy him.
Right.
They have a financial situation themselves. They're still not out of the woods yet. Go ahead.
So we are given options to either play him and let's see how he does under Potter,
Or terminate his contract.
Yes.
So, okay, 3 options we have. But go ahead. Let me not
or
sell
sell him, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we probably
one more. Yeah, there's 3 more, right? Can you name them? Sorry, I did a tapping on you.
So what are our options with Lukaku? Okay, sell him, put him out on loan somewhere else, cancel the contract, and play him. That's it. That's all I can think of.
And none will be the only two will be okay with the fans. Sell him or cancel his contract.
Yeah, but
go ahead.
There's serious financial ramifications of cancelling the contract.
Because you got to pay him off.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's done in UEFA. You know, I'm not sure how it's done at all.
If we initiate it,
yes,
he'll be asking.
Now he could come to a mutual agreement and say, you know, let's say that we owe him, let's say 50 million. I'm just using that number, but he could say, okay, you know what? Let's terminate the contract for 25 billion.
Let's just move on. Let everybody move on.
Yeah, that could be arranged. However, he could come back and, you know what, he could excel with us and be either play for us for 1 year or half a season and then move on somewhere else. Or he could stay with us and be a success. However, that's a risk because he could be a rotten apple, a bad apple. I'm not sure what he does for morale. Morale is a big thing, coach, in the locker room. So that's a gamble in and of itself. But anyway, so Lukaku, I think, is a huge issue financially speaking. And then there's the aspect of can he play for us? There's different myriads and facets to this subject matter. But financially speaking, I don't believe we're going to be in trouble. I really don't. Because don't forget,
no, we're not right now. But I'm just concerned. But it's a good thing. It's important that we talk about it. Just give me a second.
Because don't forget, they're looking to spend 2.5 billion that includes investing in the squad and the actual stadium itself. So they're allowed to invest and spend X amount without being, punished by UEFA or the Premier League.
And my point is, from the financial FFP expert that talked about that did speak about the situation a month ago, said without Champions League football, it makes it difficult for us. But with Champions League football, we're fine. But I'll come back to you. I have some other question I wanted to ask you with regards to Graham Potter. Coach, I've tried to program Nightbot to do that. 1%, we have a chance like every other team. Let's be realistic. Yep, every other team has a chance. Hello, brother, up the Charles, Don Potter. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. You keep finding all this Potter with this one with Potter with a red jersey on.
Wow.
Computer things. Football is just a game at the end. And by the way, there's a time where Eugene said hello to you. I think I skipped it. I was just highlighting it then. It's just a game at the end. Computer things can help you for players development. But for this though, let's see. Big summer clear out. Our losses will not be an issue. I hope it's not. We're just talking about it. It's important. That's why we're having the conversation. You're learning from Roger now. He doesn't think it's going to be a big problem. Yes, the sanctions almost destroyed us. He almost did. I can't forget sobbing when I read Romain's farewell message on the show here. But that's why we'll move on. Almost destroyed us. The selling of the club in a record time during a transfer window didn't help. But Bali has made us some catastrophic errors. We have brought this on ourselves. We have brought this on ourselves. You could say that. Yeah, he means well, but he made a mistake. Hopefully, he learns from that. Can I be a mod? I watch. You don't have to ask for it. I'm not sure what to make of that. We'll talk about that later. What have Potter and Nagelsmann pictures do? Want Potter get sacked? No, I don't want him to get sacked. We're having a conversation. If anything, I'll give you 50 million reasons why they're not going to sack him, especially with a loss, especially as it's important that we balance the books. Because the fact is, Roger, I hope you can agree with me on this. Whether we're fine or not, it's important that we balance the book. We can't just let it go because we're fine.
I'm not sure balancing the books to the extent.
Okay, let me just put it this way. Maybe let me just phrase it this way.
Perhaps
whether we're fine or not, it's not a loss is not okay. No matter where wherever the causes may be, it's important that at least we bring things up to a positive line. We can't just leave it like that and say because we're fine and keep spending anyhow. Then it gets worse.
Well, it's not the preferred financial disposition, is it, to have a financial loss?
So we'll be doing something to make that go away, won't we?
Well, over time, yes, over time.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my point. What I'm trying to, maybe you help me better communicate that. My point is, I get it. Even the statements that we've read with regards to the laws, they say clearly we're still fine. But if we're hearing that we're really going to the Premier League saying you should give us some leeway because we have this issue or the other issue, it means maybe we're close to a situation where it becomes an issue. But help me communicate that even though we're fine, we still need to try to get things to a positive line, because it's not okay if it stays negative next year, stays negative the following year.
No,
but go ahead.
You're right, but over time they will stabilize this. They're not going to be spending 600 million every year on players, coach. They had you and I we've talked about that a zillion times. They signed so many young players, and I think that's with regards to that, not spending too much on players in the future. But go ahead. This is not sustainable. So they because of the I use this term in quotation marks, the loophole of being able to have an X amount of years, more than 5 years. Now UEFA has shut that door to that quote unquote loophole, so that they took advantage of that.
Let me ask you something quickly, Roger.
Yeah,
that loophole can that by the summer we're not going to be able to use it anymore.
No, we can sign players to as long a contract as we want, but the actual price of the contract can only be amortized no longer than 5 years.
Okay, go ahead. But go ahead with what you were saying. Thank you for answering that.
So basically, that's not an issue. So if you have a look at our squad on paper, there's going to be quite a few people that are going to be leaving. You know, possibly a Pulisic. You know, Havertz. I mean, Ziyech. You know, people of that ilk. Probably Azpilicueta. So they will be off the wage bill for all intents and purposes. And we probably who is that centre back that I'm trying to think that lost to Man City, where Haaland scored so many against him. Forgot the name.
I don't remember.
He was in the World Cup, the centre back that we were thinking of getting. Guardiola, yes.
He was awful against them.
Right. Well, Haaland can do that to anyone, you know. So like spending money, 100 million on someone like that when we already have Badiashile, you know.
But this guy coming back, what's his name? What's what's his name will come. Levi Colwell will come back.
Yeah, exactly. So we got Colwell. Do you understand? We don't need to do. I don't think we need to be splashing out the cash when we do need to be fiscally responsible, or more fiscally responsible, I should say. So we don't have to actually spend that much. You know, when you consider the amount of players that will probably be leaving us or be cut, and then the amount of money that we will spend this summer, it will probably balance out. I assume so. And if it doesn't, it will be either way, positive or negative, not by more than 30 to 50 million, I dare say. Now, I'm not sure whether Lukaku comes into that equation or not. I don't know. But just generally speaking, I think we've done a lot of spending for the near future, for the next 2 or 3 years. So
yeah, a lot of people don't see that. A lot of people still pay attention to all the all the we're linked. We're going to sign player A, player B, player C. I don't think he'll be like that.
We've got 22 players out on loan, coach, and 33 on the roster right now. So that's 35, 36, 55, 56 players. That's an exorbitant amount of people. So it will probably be reduced, you know. So I have no problem with that, coach.
Let me catch up with the chat. I'll come back to you with another question. And thank you so much. Good to have you on the panel here. At least people will get a different opinion, not just me. Yeah, it's not, you all get to understand while I have his picture there. Let's see, Bigger Pichila and Roger. I think there are football finance experts out there. And maybe you can invite one to explain how FFP works. Are there limits on a new owner's investment? I think there should be. I think there is. Yeah, there is. Yeah, they're given the leeway as to how much they're able to spend because it's an investment. I think the analogy, who explained it then? When you buy a new house, you have to buy a new things to make the house look like you want it. That was the analogy someone used on the panel here, but we don't know the exact amount that they're allowed to spend. But like I said, I read something from an FFP expert that appeared on Sky Sports. We say something to the effect of, we have to make it to the Champions League or win it. If we don't, then we should be very close to getting into trouble. It would be difficult for us to avoid it.
Get in trouble with UEFA or the Premier League?
I think he said the Premier League. Yeah, I think he said the Premier League. I forgot how he explained it, that actually. But I have to, again, we're not an expert in that, but the truth is, I think a loss is a loss. It's not a good thing. Let's just put it that way. And I think it makes sense to look for an expert or maybe get a better understanding of what the rules says, what we can do or not that. But the FFP isn't the reason for this show. The reason is that, it makes it difficult for us to spend that much money in the summer. Because no matter how you see it, they will also be trying to balance the books. I know it will be over the years. It will not be one time. And but let's see. People think if we sell, all the money we'll make from the selling, we're going to buy new players. I really don't think so. I think, if anything, if we sell, we'll see the younger players get a chance. We will see. But don't be surprised if that's what Fofana stays. And we're not going to go spend 100 million plus on a striker because it wouldn't make sense to them. Yeah. Let's see what we have here. They cannot sack Potter because FFP is coming. Not really FFP. I'm just gonna ask Roger that question. Maybe you have a better understanding. It just compounds the whole. It compounds the financial situation by 50 million plus. If that's how much they ought to pay him, if they decide they want to let him go, having no manager would be a significant upgrade on Potter.
Ouch.
April is around the corner. I cannot see it being a good month for this manager. Let's see what happens.
Tough, coach.
Sorry?
I think we have 9 games in April. It doesn't look pretty.
Yeah, it's going to be a very busy month for us, really.
Yes.
It will be. Roger is saying if it is a 1-year blip not to qualify for the Champions League, the financial outlay will be bad or won't be bad, I'm not sure. How confident is he Porter can lead Chelsea to the Champions League next season? Roger, if you want to answer that, you go ahead.
Yes, honestly and objectively, I think we have to give him a clean slate so to speak, because he's getting players coming back now. Now, don't forget Reece. By the way, may I ask, what is the status of Reece James? Do we
I
know
haven't
if
heard anything new.
will he be missing the Chelsea game this week? Will he be out for
Maybe not, because he was said to be minor.
Okay, but that's alarming, shall we say? I'm really concerned about that. You know, we still don't have Silva yet, and there's a possibility of us not having Reece potentially. Okay, so now N'Golo probably will take 3 or 4 games to be match fit and get into shape. So I believe once we get our best players back, then I believe, and let's say this season's over, from the start of next season to Christmas time, I can judge him fairly from them, assuming that N'Golo is fit, Reece is fit, and so forth, because you have to do that, because it's unfair. Because otherwise, if you look at any other manager, let's have a look at Arsenal. You take away half a dozen to a dozen of their starters, would they be on top of the league? Would they be lower than 10th? Of course, this is a hypothetical. No one can answer that accurately, but I'm just giving an example. And injuries is always going to be part of the game, but not when you're decimated. So I think it's unfair to judge, because listen, how many times have we hit the post? How many times have we not been clinical? These are things you cannot blame on a coach. And that's not my opinion. That's virtually every professional. We're talking about professionals that have played in World Cups and have played for their respective nations. These are people that have said execution is on the player, not on a manager / coach. So it's just like in the NFL, when a wide receiver drops a ball, but it's right in his hands, you can't blame a wide receiver coach for that. That's on the player. Does that make sense? So, yes, has he made mistakes? Or the coaching staff? When I say him, I'm talking about the collective coaching staff, which is under him. Of course they have. They're probably learning on the job to a certain extent. But there are certain things I like about what he's doing. And there's certain things I'm not, like Datra Fofana not playing enough. But then again, we're not privy to seeing what is transpiring on the training ground each and every day. So I think, and I've said this for years, let's not be trigger happy. Let's give these coaches enough time, 1 to 2 seasons. That's my opinion. Am I confident that we could qualify? Well, there's 2 ways of qualifying. Assuming we make the Europa League, I think we would stand a good chance of winning that, because we've already won it twice before. Do we have the depth and the quality in the squad? Yeah, I believe so, especially over time. Do I think we can make top 4 next year? I think that question depends on how well Newcastle do, because Newcastle are looking very good, in my opinion. Spurs, whoever Spurs gets as a new manager, we don't know yet, because they could get coach A, B, or C that could make a huge difference. So Man United look very good on the up. It's going to be tough to make top 4. This is a very tough league, and you have that little horse called Man City, that little pony that seems to be, they just can't. They're an efficient machine, and I use machine in the most politest complimentary term. So I'm not confident we can make top 4, but I'm confident we could potentially make Europe by probably winning Europa League. To be fair,
All right, let's get what we have in the chat. Some responses for you. Then we're just gonna move on from them and talk about. I really want to ask you that question. So after that response, then we can move on to what else we have up there. Roger is back with Faith. Faith can go along with. The Bowley has demonstrated enough incompetence and rashness that I cannot have faith. He has gotten FFP right. If he misses that one, then wow, it's going to be dangerous for us. But I think in terms of FFP, I think we'll be fine, because, like I said, then they probably have people behind the scenes crunching the numbers. I am hoping Lukaku gets another 3 goals against Germany today. Win-win for us. Let's see what happens. Roger, if Lukaku is a gamble, Potter is more of a gamble. to keep him with the mess that Chelsea is in. And I think Roger would agree Potter is always a gamble, but
Yeah,
he's seeing things differently.
He wasn't hired on his resume per se. I think he was hired on his potential because
Yeah.
of he's well thought of through his peers, and
Yeah.
he's regarded as a new and upcoming manager that has been able to do quite well with a very small budget in Brighton. Let's be real, he's not an elite manager. No one has ever said on this show that he's an elite manager, but
No.
based on his potential / ceiling level, listen, he's yet to prove either way whether he's good enough or not good enough, in my opinion, because of the circumstances he's been under. That's all I'm saying, chaps.
Yeah, chaps, I hope you're listening. But that's by the way, we're going to be fine. Enzo Kante covers its best midfield in the world. That's one thing you have very in common with Roger. At Santos Corner, and we're cooking. I'm going to stop talking about potential the new signings. I'm just going to do shots with them. But take a step back and realize that FFP is designed to prevent clubs from spending 600 million in 6 months. And if people think amortization solves for that, they don't understand regulators. Okay, let's see what we have here.
It was a loophole. So, but I get what you're saying.
And it was.
Listen,
Bolly exploited that very well.
Coach, I just want to say something. I'm a hypocrite because I think we should have a salary cap, or a cap, a hard cap, like the NFL does.
The whole Premier League.
Yeah, because
good luck.
No, I'm just saying no. It would be nice.
I'm just saying good luck because it's going to be very difficult.
No, of course. But because, as a child growing up, Chelsea were horrible. We were getting relegated more often than not. And I would go and see Chelsea mostly in what was then called the second division, which is now the Championship. And, I never thought that we would be bought and be successful as we are. And big clubs like Man United, I detested because they had such financial superiority, and poor little Chelsea didn't. Now the tables are turned, so to speak. But I feel sorry for other teams because I've been in their shoes. A lot of people that are probably listening to this are not old enough to remember when Chelsea were in the second division. So that's my logic.
All right, let me catch up with the chat. Coach, we will not get any help or sympathy from the FA. Anthony Taylor refereeing our Liverpool game. What does that tell you? They are not our friends.
That's a solid point. That's a solid point.
If you're a Chelsea fan and you don't know that, then maybe you're not paying attention. Yeah. I will give to Havertz a credit just until the end of the season. If I didn't see constantly for a performance from him, then you give up. Okay. We buy Badiashile instead of Vadio. Yeah, I like Badiashile.
For probably a third of the price.
Yeah, exactly, and probably has more potential than him. But let's see what happens. They're both the same age bracket, but I get that people will never agree that he's better. I'm not going to go into the argument as to which of the two players is better than the other. Maybe time will tell.
Too early, Coach. Yeah.
Too early. Time will tell. Yeah. Hushford, morning to you too. These players in January window was we need last summer. Okay, I can't read that. Do people realize that we sold Lukaku to Everton for a fee? Yeah, we did. The net loss on him is not a problem.
In what context?
Yeah, can you elaborate? That. Maybe we need to hear more. Can you elaborate? And please, if you're in the chat, stop breaking your comments bit by bit, except if you're saying hello to somebody in the fancy, that's fine. Welcome up together so that there isn't too much to read. Rhys James needs a surgery. Melo Gusto will play next season. A surgery would be good for Rhys James. It's clear he cannot give 100% on the pitch. Yeah. I am not a talent evaluator, but would relegation experienced players like Prowess, Southampton, or Billings, Bournemouth be able to provide that? Those sort of players, if you go for them, they will jump at the opportunity of playing for Chelsea.
Yes,
they will, and that's usually where we get players that are usually, usually squad players. Coach, my brother walked into the kitchen with a Tottenham jersey for the last 20 minutes. He cannot lift the cup. Okay. Oh
That's
my
funny.
goodness.
That's
That's good for
beautiful.
your brother. That's a good one for him.
Yeah.
I don't buy this clean slate argument. So much excuse. The man isn't good enough. So much mediocrity. Time will tell. But the thing is, I get it. I have questions myself, but I think he's here
Yeah.
till the end of the season, no matter what happens. With all due respect, is it the goalpost's fault and the reason to keeping Potter in his job? I get where you're going to, but you have to understand Rodgers' point. That we've been unlucky was what mainly the point there. Let's see what we have. Hello to you too, Chama. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. The reaction to the Everton result was so ferocious, because we all saw things in the prior 3 wins, which we knew were going to catch up with us. Let's be real. We need a real clear out in the summer. Likes of Albaziak, Pulisic, Bettinelli. Bettinelli just extended his contract, but that doesn't mean we're not going to sell him. He just extended until 2026. Koulibaly, maybe.
No.
I think Koulibaly stays. Broya stays. Datro stays. We're not going to sell. He's not going to go out on loan. If we're not going to be spending that much, Datro Fofana stays.
You know what, though, Coach? I fear he may go out on loan. I fear he may, though.
Okay, just remember I told you I don't think he'll go on loan.
No, I don't want him to go. I just fear that he may. I hope he doesn't.
That may well be the case, but if we're going to sell a lot of players, I think he's not going to go. It wouldn't make any sort of sense. If we cannot bring in any high-profile attacker like people are saying, we're looking at spending 100 million or Simeon and all that, he stays because he's a fine player. Chances are we want to keep him, and that's the reason why we want him to keep playing with the youth team.
Since when is sense part of the equation, Coach?
Sorry?
Since when is sense part of the equation? You know?
Oh, my goodness.
But may I ask you something? Do you think Pulisic and Kai stay, or do they go?
I'm not sure what's going to happen because we're going to do a lot of sales. I'm still going to use the term, we need to make sales to balance the book. Some people think we need to make sales to buy players.
Well, it's not just to balance the books. It's not sustainable to have this many players. You can't have a squad.
It's a bloated squad, and you'll be spending so much on salary.
Yes. It's not.
There's no telling who lives and
just
who
in
stays.
Training, most of the experts, that former coaches, former players, say this is too much of a bloated squad to have any kind of continuity within training. It's like that's not the norm. So
it's not. It's not. Let me just catch up with
of course.
The chat, Roger. I'm going to come to you with that particular question I talked about. Let's be real. We need a real clear out. Yep, I've read that one. If Roger had to be his
really?
You would see how quickly he crosses. Just go away.
My voice would be a lot higher, I dare say, too. Yeah.
yeah, high pitch.
Who said I'm going to bet mine?
Yeah.
What did you have for breakfast?
You see what you're doing now, the Bluetooth again. Yes, people, 65 likes, which means we need 35 more to get it to 100.
Yeah,
I think we can, but only if you help us. My earpiece just said I have a low battery. I hope it doesn't go off. But if it does, I find if anytime, Roger, please pay attention. It sounds like I'm not hearing you, just type something in the private chat. But that's, by the way, we won the European League with competent managers. Too much excuses for Potter. Coaches like Tuchel will make a top. Will make coaches like Tuchel will make top 4 any day. I am afraid Roger has become a Trojan horse at the CFC. Wow. No.
Ouch.
Big up Rahayu, aka 343 Dilemma. I hope you're doing well. Roger is about to lose all his clients by telling Mount Potter to face a salary crap. Okay. Big up to you, Choma. I hope you're doing well. Always nice to see you. Roger, before injuries were the excuses, then a bloated squad after 600 million and maybe more you're still talking about hypothetical comments. Come on, man. Okay, when is Chelsea gonna be Chelsea and not some other club he mentioned there? Let me see what else we have here. It took the Zerbi half a season to show that Potter was underperforming at Brighton. How about? I get it. This makes sense. It's a solid argument, but somebody could come and say, how about the fact that he just had to build on what Potter, the foundation Potter laid?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, where is Brighton in the league? They're like 7th, right? But when Potter left, they were 5th. So technically, to be pedantic, technically, they're bloody lower than when Potter left them. So, that doesn't. You can say that. So technically, Potter left them in a higher position than where they are now. So
yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Anytime soon, Roger, once you get talking, I'm going to try to fix on the other one because this one has a low battery. And if it goes up, I have a problem. I've read that one, but trust the Potter out process, guys. No wonder you changed from a Potter. No wonder why you changed it from a Potter avatar to something else. I think you've given up on him. We're absolutely not selling Bettinelli. He extended for a reason. No. We've seen players extend and then we sell them the next month.
Yeah.
It's a decent age goalie who feels that. Plus, there's a chance it's good enough. I don't know him that well, but I'm not going to get into that argument.
He doesn't look that good, but I've only seen him play once.
So, Roger, here, this one and go back up. Sorry?
I only saw Bettinelli play once and I was not impressed. He's horrible with his feet.
Yeah, during the preseason where he made a mistake. Of the attackers, Kai is available and most well-rounded. We need to build our offense around him. It cannot be sold. That's what you're thinking. But we'll get to some topic right now. If Havertz is to leave, it's also be wanting to hold on to Sterling, Pulisic, Aubameyang, and many other players. It's not simple. Roger, the question is the financial issue we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Do you think, or don't you think, however you want to see it, that's probably one of the reasons why it's going to be even more difficult to let Graham Potter go, because if we let him go, the situation compounds by 50 million plus. That is, if in fact we're going to have to pay him that for him to leave. But go ahead, let me try and fix my earpiece. Sure. So I'm not sure when I'm going to jump back.
I think that logic has to come into some part of the equation, whether to let him go or not. But for all intents and purposes, if all of a sudden, let's say it's early next year and we're coming up to Christmas and we are not successful under Potter and we lose games that we shouldn't be losing, etc., then I believe he will be let go regardless of the financial disposition that this would put us in, because the owners will not allow that. This is a results-driven industry, where it counts. We cannot continue to lose if we have a full, healthy squad. That would not be construed as acceptable. So even though that the financial aspects, I get that. It does come into the equation, but it's not the entire reason, or not even a large part of the reason, I believe. I believe that due to the fact that we have to see results that would either lean one way or the other. Whether he's successful, he keeps his job. If he's not successful, when I say he, meaning the team, which is obviously he is responsible for, then him and his entire backroom staff will have to be let go. If we do indeed continue to lose next year, I can't see, for financial reasons, us keeping Potter if we're 15th in the table until Christmas next year. No, I don't think he'll stay. I think he'll be gone.
Yeah. So you think? I didn't get everything you said.
So I said, basically, I'll just quickly surmise this. I think the financial aspect of letting him go is a small part of the equation, but for all intents and purposes, this is a results-driven industry where the results on the pitch will dictate whether he stays or goes, regardless of the compensation that is required.
Mhm.
They,
Yeah.
they understood that when they drew up the contract. It's that simple.
Yeah. So, which means you're agreeing that if they let him go now, it compounds the situation by however, again, it would
No,
be however amount that would be
no, I'm
the
not saying
payout.
that. No, I'm not saying that. I believe that let's say it's the beginning of next season and we come to Christmas and we're 15th, hypothetically, then they're going to let him go because they will base their decision solely on results. I think because they drew up this contract for him and his entire backroom staff, they knew what they're getting themselves into financially. They would have been advised that they're experienced enough. They own, or he owns, a baseball team, or part owns. He
Hmm.
understands the ramifications of a contract and where financially where these implications will put them. So I believe that the only real reason for either keeping him or firing him is what is done on the pitch.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And I'm going to say this again, given the financial situation, no matter how uh, big of a problem you think it is or not, I think signing João Felix, I think it's not going to be that simple. We may well end up not signing him. But that's big. Both the sides of Felix and Havertz will be sold, in my opinion. Let's see what happens. Maybe, yeah, maybe. And Havertz still have about more than 3 years left on his contract, about that number. So we'll get
Yeah.
a sizable, about a sizable fee from his sell if we decide to sell him. Big up to you too, brother. I hope you're doing well, guys. If you're watching, if you haven't, go check out Almighty Blues FC. Excellent channel, and he has a show, a quiz, a show, trivia show maybe. That's another time for it. But I think you will love it. You will enjoy it. I think it's the best in the Chelsea community. I want to get him to get Roger on. Roger knows Chelsea history. He should give. But has Bobby done it? Bobby hasn't. But Max has done it. Roger, I think you will love it. He's trying to get me to come do it again, and I said no. He's going to disgrace me in front of people. I'm not a Chelsea historian. But much love to you, brother. Please, people, go check out this YouTube channel. If you can share the link to your channel, when I get there, I'll talk about it. Much love to you. Broke my heart this morning to see TT and Bayern training kit taking charge of the session. I didn't even want to see it. That's how bad I felt. That sadness quickly turned to anger. Yeah, I could sense you weren't that happy. You're not happy. You're not a happy camper this morning. 67 likes, which means we need 33 more to get it to 100. We can get there by the time the show ends. Let's get 100 today. If you haven't, please keep dropping the likes on the stream, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you so much for all the support. Sincerely do appreciate that. JC says this season has been a revelation for me on what are all possible reasons for a team to lose a game. I don't know if there are any left after exploring posts, Anthony Taylor, etc., etc. It surely cannot be pot. Do you mean pot? I'm not sure what you're saying there. Okay, just having a conversation there. Why not extend the Westview seat pricing plan of 240 per seat stadium wide? Okay. Seeing as fans are I'm not sure. Seeing as fans are so willing to give Potter time and settle for now, and settle for no European football. Okay, we will have to. I can't. Why am I finding it difficult to read this? We've got to balance the books somehow. Yeah, that's the main point I get there. No matter how you see it, we have to balance the books. Val won't let Potter stay beyond the summer. I think he'd be saying something, and if he speaks, I think they'd listen. That's one way to completely lose all fan support. Okay, you're having a conversation there. Go ahead with it, please, and leave me out of it. Felix and Havertz are not explosive, so we cannot have both. Since Roger likes hypotheticals, how much can Chelsea raise by selling Mount, Pulisic, Chalobah, Kepa, and all the names you mentioned there? I don't think we should go into that. It's just going to waste our time. And I think Roger have talked about how much we can make from selling players and how that can help us balance the books. Big up to you too. I hope you're doing well, Glenn. Always nice to see you. I don't know if I've accepted your request via Discord. You said you sent me a request. I don't know if I've accepted that, but that's by the way. Just Stalin in Mount problem solved. You can sign Felix. Okay. Eugene. That's what we call a squad. We need 2 players in every position.
A
Two
minimum.
started. Yeah, a minimum. 2 players capable of starting. I saw an image on Twitter displaying that our remaining fixtures is rated one of the hardest. Wow. So yeah, that makes me feel better. Nagelsmann said he will wait until summer to make a decision. Maybe he's waiting for Chelsea. Okay, and if that doesn't happen for him, then he'd be jobless. But I'm not sure what to make of that. Kachila, I'd have to disagree that all losses are the same. Okay, did I say all losses are the same? I've heard that there are credits in the FFP for lockdown related losses. Okay, that's fine. For example, probably no credits for the 100 million TT mistakes. Okay, it makes sense. Not yet. I checked yesterday. Okay, I'll check it after the show. And like I told you, I'm not well acquainted with how Discord works because I haven't used it that much. But I think I should be able to find your request and accept it. Okay, sorry about that. Coach, you saw Mike Megan's how do you pronounce his last name? Saves bring him to Chelsea. Megan. I don't know if Chelsea wants him and how much it's going to go for. You will get a mess with lots of competition without age balance. Wow. All right, it's a one. All right, it's a one by Opta Analysts. Okay, posted on Chelsea Dodger Street 23 hours ago. Oh, okay. Nagelsmann is still being paid. Remember, he's got time. So he's not going to be in a rush. I guess that's what you're saying. After spending 600 million and maybe more in the summer, Roger is still talking about hypotheticals to get Champions League football. Not good enough.
Well,
okay.
That's the situation we're in, whether it's good enough or not. That's not the point here. Yeah, it probably isn't good enough because of such a high level we've been in the last 2 decades. But this is the situation we've been in. Don't forget we were under sanctions. We lost players that walked away from contracts, starting players. These are things that are hard to overcome. They take time in transition. It doesn't happen overnight, chaps.
Yeah,
I think people are so I think there's so much impatience, especially in the Chelsea subset of culture in the Premier League. It's just, I don't know. Everyone wants to win yesterday, it seems. It's I don't know. I find the Chelsea fan base to be very impatient indeed. Very much so. More so than any other English club that I can think of. Perhaps United are in the same realm as us, maybe. It sounds to me like there's a sense of entitlement, and that's wrong. Of course you want Chelsea to be the best they can be and be an elite team, but you have to be realistic. And times change. It's cyclical. Look, Liverpool dominated. They didn't win the Premier League for 30 years. And don't call them a small team because they've won, 6 or 7 Champions League trophies. They're a big club. So, put things in perspective. That's all I'm saying. Coach, I can't hear you. Did you mute yourself?
Yeah, I did mute myself because I was coughing. This is not a national tournament of 7 games. Of players want to play the same quality on same position with same age. It cannot work. It's
exactly.
a mess.
Yeah, balance you have to have a balance. Yeah, there you go. Leadership. This is what we're lacking also. This is the one thing that we miss, I think, on the pitch and probably in the locker room is a leadership. When you look at the last 2 decades where we've been most successful, we've had a huge array of leadership in every phase of the game, in the defense, midfield, and forwards, and including goalkeeper too, with Pedicek, for instance. We've had natural leaders that led by example and vocally. We lack that currently.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. This one here says there's an entitlement, big time. Yeah, unfortunately. Porter must go. Shem says, Shem, thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. People, we're 67 likes. We can do better than that. If you haven't, please do take a second to drop a like on the stream and also subscribe if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. Roger, again, this is Chelsea. We cannot be accepting this mediocrity even in 15-16, we didn't do 2 wins in 16 games. Okay, if that's how you want to see it, you go ahead. Roger, just give it a thought. During the last 20 years, how many times have Liverpool, United, Arsenal have finished 10th in the league? Agree? Agree? Excuse me. Agree to bleeps, but this isn't bleep. It's putting axe to own the knee, putting axe on the knee. I'm going to come back to that in a
visual.
bit. Yeah, some visual there, right? If we could, if I could only snap my fingers and make Roger have to defend Lukaku for the team of his footballing career, please, Lord. Only a matter of time before fans realize we don't have to accept the position we are in. We will reach Glazer out a protest level if Bali doesn't back down with a Red Bull's copycat project. Army to this balance with kind takeover and all the names you mentioned with no time with them. Let's keep the comments aligned, please. We'll also pay 13 million for TT leaving, not just the signing of bonuses for Porter. Wow. Roger, we still need to win regardless, unless we are totally fine being the next Tottenham and making our players the next Kane great but trophyless.
I get it. No, I get it. I get it. Listen, I consider myself a huge fan, but I'm a realist also. That's all I'm saying. I'm giving a balanced opinion. That's all.
They are sending mixed signals. We were told it was going to be a rebuild. Lot was going to take time. Okay, fair enough. But then don't go around spending 600 million. Of course, that comes with pressure. It does. It does. If we have to be honest. Apparently, Havertz wants to leave. We'll get to that in a bit.
Really?
Yeah. Liverpool forgot. But I don't trust that rumor. Tuchel said he will drive the bus to play a game of football. Chelsea don't have the means. If Chelsea don't have the means, I remember that. Sure, Potter would have said that that's life. We'll move on. That's hypothetical too. That's in hindsight, so to speak. They spend money on young talent. Stalin leaves City because he wants to play more somewhere. Is that going to happen at Chelsea? I don't know. Please, any rumors on changing the coach? No, just don't hold your breath on that one. Roger, the league table doesn't allow the patience. Where we finish now dictates what kind of club we are in 10 years. Chelsea should not look over it. It should
Okay, can I just say something? No, it doesn't.
Go ahead.
If you can go back to that last statement, put it up on the screen. It doesn't dictate where we're going to be in 10 years, because only 5 or 6 years ago, we were down to 17th, I believe, and ended up being 10th. That's when the players down tools under Mourinho 2.0, if I'm not mistaken. And we've won the league since then with another manager and several more trophies. So that's not the case. History has borne that out to be that's not the case. You know? Sorry. That's just because you finish. For instance, Liverpool ended up finishing like, I don't know, a few years ago when they were decimated. They had a poor season, and what did they end up doing? They ended up winning the league and also the European Cup. So you can't say that. One season doesn't dictate where you're going to be for the next 10 years. It just doesn't.
Coach, do you think? Just look at this God of Frogs putting me on on the spot.
Well, he's got a first-class ticket on that bus.
Yeah. Do you think Potter
champagne.
should be sacked right now? I would say if you can get a good manager in, I'll say yes. But do I think he should be given time? I'm not going to say anything. I backed him, and I still believe there's a chance you give him time, he becomes the next best manager in the world. That's a start for everything. But do I think we should change him now? I think maybe it could. There's a chance it becomes a mistake if we change him now. It depends on who comes in. There's no guarantee who comes in, he works. Well, do I really want that to happen? I would say yes, but I think it could be. Could end up being a bigger mistake than actually letting him stay. So it's not that straightforward for me. But I have lots of questions.
It
I have to be honest.
It depends on who's available, also.
Yeah, more importantly, and who comes in. Yeah. So yeah, I have to be honest with you. It's not that straightforward for me as much as it is. I think maybe it's that straightforward for you. The sole purpose of a football club is obtain 3 points, and that's it. Yeah, we have fallen in mentality. We have fallen in finance. We have fallen in league position, and we're about to fall in Europe.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, at least Roger agrees. That's true. If the management standard is impatient, and then Chelsea is a serious mess. Should we sack GP now? Depends. Are you going to replace him with Nagelsmann? Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. It depends on who you want to bring in. But if you say you're going to sack him and bring in Thomas Frank, no, just leave him, because Thomas Frank is going to come and start afresh, and probably have to make the mistakes that Potter have made. Yeah, keep him.
I like Thomas Frank, coach. I like him a lot.
But I wouldn't say fire Graham Potter and hire him.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If Potter is replaced by Thomas Frank, would you have an issue?
I can't change it, but it doesn't. Both the same manager, another manager with just potentials. If that makes sense, another manager that probably would have to learn on the job.
Yeah, well, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, I like if Ancelotti replaces him tomorrow. I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, that's a proven manager, world-class manager.
Oh yeah. Do I think Carlo would take it? Not right now, because it's at Real Madrid. Except if he loses Madrid job.
Yeah, he's got. Yeah, and after this season, he's got 1 year left on his contract.
Yeah. Yeah, just give me a second.
If we offered Carlo Ancelotti the job, would he take it? Hypothetically,
I think he will under the new owners. Maybe if he was still Roman, he'd say no.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it didn't end well.
He would think about it. He would think about it seriously, I think.
Yeah. He says. He says only if the game was that simple. No, Potter is better than Potter.
Potter.
Okay, let's go. Roger doesn't like him. He just asked a question. Thomas Frank can be hired as a set-piece coach, and we're all fine with that. Basically, that's Thomas Frank in a nutshell, a set-piece master. Okay, Roger, we'll move on to this topic right now so we can round up as soon as we can. This one, the Blues, Chelsea, have had an upsurge in results recently, which has helped ease the pressure on Potter following a largely disappointing first season at Chelsea. He's saying that like he's sure he's going to have a second season at Chelsea. But further negativity between now and the end of the season could still leave Chelsea owners with a decision to make. And the fact Nagelsmann is readily available may be a factor. Is he going to wait for you? I don't think so. Maybe if he's not in a rush to go into a football managing the club again, maybe he'd be available then. But Roger, I don't know if you have anything to say with regards to that.
I mean, I think there's some truth to that. I mean, Potter is hoping to finish on a high note. To finish in the top 7, I think would be a realistic goal. I think if the remaining dozen or so games, I'm talking about the Premier League here, is up and down like it has been, with the players that we get back, like an N'Golo, like a recent, or if we have a full squad and it's up and down, then that doesn't bode well for Potter. I still think he'll probably be given the job to start next season, and unless we start losing consistently, I think.
Or in a nutshell, it's unless the situation gets worse than it is right now.
Yeah, deteriorates. Yeah, that's a possibility.
Kai wanting to leave, let me guess. Interest from Bayern? Nope. We'll get to that in a bit.
That's what I was thinking.
Guess. Yeah. Hello, bro. I hope all is well. My bro, Zion from the Blue Clouds Media. Big up, bro. It's been a while. I hope you're doing well. Please, people, go check out his YouTube channel. It's easy. Click 3 dots to his right. Go to channel. Be sure to subscribe. He's a brother, a nice person. I've gotten to know him well beyond content creation. He's a good guy. And plus, good content, more importantly, because you don't eat good guy, you want good content. Believe me, you see that on Blue Clouds Media. Go check it out. I hope you're well, bro. As for me, yeah, I'm better now, but it looks like my little one also got something new, and I can expect to get that soon. By the time. So most definitely it will come back again. We have my 2-year-old started what's it called? Not daycare. So yeah, so chances are every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks I'll have another cold or something else. Roger, I gave you an easy out by allowing you to define my statement as where we're finishing in a single season. That's not the point. Man U and Arsenal being in the mode for the last decade are the examples. Do you have anything to say, or should I move on, Roger?
Well, I'll give you the easy out by allowing you to define my statement as where we finish in a single season. That's not the. I don't understand. I interpreted your statement as saying, please correct me if I'm wrong, that if we ended up in like very poorly out of Europe this season, it would dictate where we'll be for the next decade. That's how I interpreted it. Please forgive me if I misinterpreted it. But so what you're saying is that's not the point. Man U and Arsenal being in the mud for the last decade are the examples. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This doesn't. Having one good season doesn't automatically dictate that you're going to be successful for the next decade, and conversely, having a poor season doesn't equate to the fact that you're going to be a poor team for the next decade. So I agree with you. I believe that Chelsea are good enough with this squad. Health, I don't know. Like people like Reece and N'Golo, I have reservations about their health, but I believe this squad over time can be a top team in Britain or England, I should say. I believe they can be within the top 4 to top 6 and hopefully win a title in the next couple of years.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. We have 68 likes, people, 32 more to get it to 100. We can do that by the time the show ends. So please, even if you're watching it, you're not able to participate in the chat, understandable, but please do us that kindly be the favor of taking a second or two to drop a like on the stream. The likes to go along with. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Football is passion. Antonio Conte. Yep. Again, Antonio Conte. Wow. Something I heard he said with regards to Chelsea winning is an expectation or something like that. But at Spurs, it's a wish or something to that effect.
Ouch!
Did you hear that? Did you see
that?
No, I'm going to find it and share with you. I don't want to misquote him, but something close to that to that effect. And when I read it, I knew he was going to lose his job eventually.
Oh yeah, I saw the press conference. He went off. Yeah. It looked like he did that as there was no return from that, and I think he knew that.
Probably knew he was going to leave.
Yes,
they're going to sack him.
No doubt about it. No doubt. And I think
like somebody said, maybe they should stop chasing our exes.
Yeah, they haven't they? They really have. Who are they going to get next?
Yeah, and Tuchel was an ex who still respect us. Well, maybe that was why he didn't go there, because I'm sure they would have taken Tuchel. Let's see. Yeah, Chelsea coach Antonio Barry to stay away from Cobham and Stamford Bridge, while Bayern Munich. Yep, that shows the relationship is gone. which to me means Bayern will most likely get him because he can't stay. Which means Bayern will most likely get him. And when I said 2 days ago, Tuchel wanted some staff from Chelsea, it was too early then. You people said it was nonsense. Yep, we said it was nonsense.
But it's the norm, coach. This happens often.
Do I have to agree because you're my because you're my friend or because you're a member of the community? I don't have to agree. I have to question. That's how we learn. If you question decisions, then you have a chance to learn. But if you just suck up to everything you hear, then you're in trouble. It's happening now, maybe, and there's no guarantee it's really happening until he leaves, if that makes sense. But I get what you're saying, so you're correct. If players are not hungry and motivated, forget about trophies. Big greatest good life, EPL.
Yeah.
Coach, the onboarding of any new manager starts now with negotiations, targeting of new players and backroom staff and ideas, philosophy, system, information. By the time summer comes, he's ready. I think, they're not going to come out and say, we're looking for a new manager. And I'm sure Potter doesn't attend the board meeting. I'm sure for that. So if they're looking at a new manager, he's never going to know. We're not going to know. I would like to see that too. Can you show us, Coach, here on the live stream? Show you what?
I have no idea.
What do you want us to show you? I'm waiting, bro. Rahayu, I'm waiting. AKA 343 Dilemma. 70 likes, people. 30 more to get it to 100. We can do that by the time the show ends. Please, let's go for it. The next on list are Sarri and Lampard. I'll take Sarri. Sarri is a good tactician, and with the players we have now, I think we go a long way. I'll take him over Potter, I have to be honest. Spurs side chicks. Every manager wants his team with him.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
There's a comfort.
Yeah, go ahead, Roger.
There's a comfort level associated with working with people that you know, so it's only natural.
Yeah, and there's a chance of reason why you haven't been able to even defend corners or have them be scoring from set piece because maybe Anthony Barry isn't. That is the working relationship isn't really. In terms of productivity, isn't really working, not because they're fighting or so.
We've been horrible, Coach. I mentioned this week in, week out from corner and set pieces. Mm-hmm. What do I always say? That we just, I don't know. We look inept defensively and offensively in corners.
Yeah, we do.
It's horrible.
Yeah, we do. I have to be honest with you. It's time for a new set piece coach. It was so bad. Yeah, maybe that's the case. Big words from big Twitter account over a guy that was told to leave due to his set piece training just a few months ago. I am so sick of this. Yeah, exactly. I remember that too. So why are we, getting a kick out of it? He wants to leave, let him go. Why are we getting a kick out of Thomas Tuchel saying publicly he wants him? The way we fired him, was that honorable? No.
It's a cutthroat business, Coach.
Sorry?
It's a cutthroat business.
Exactly.
Results
you move
driven.
On.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it.
No stability whatsoever. No stability. Yeah. So listen, we raided Brighton, so Chelsea have.
That point too. But go ahead with it. I don't want to do a tapping on you again.
Yeah, listen. We can't complain. A tapping. I love that expression. Oh.
Yeah.
Seriously, listen, we raided Brighton, their backroom staff. We took everyone with us. If I'm not mistaken, I think every one of Brighton's backroom staff came with us. If I'm not, am I correct in that?
I'm not sure, but quite a lot that even the president have started saying something to the effect of he's told the tea lady not to pick something to that effect. Yeah, but it's serious. And we have a member here who calls us Brighton. And
exactly. So, I mean, can you imagine right now if Tuchel took most of our coaches with us? Can you imagine There would be a huge uproar. Listen, we can't complain because A, this is normal. This is quite common in all sports, actually, but specifically for Chelsea because of what we did with Brighton. So there's no room to complain about that.
Yeah,
And
we
it's not
should.
like he's been successful this year.
Yeah, we have no right to do that, really.
Yeah.
And plus, we sacked him at the point where every Chelsea fan, even those that hate him the most, will say we shouldn't. That don't like him will say we shouldn't have. After everything he went through with us, we sacked him without even second guessing. It was like moving on from one relationship quickly. We sacked him, boom, and the next we're hearing the next person to replace him, which means it was pre-planned. But let's not. We're not the holiest, really. We shouldn't be talking about that. The father of Victor Roku in London made links with Chelsea. Okay, I didn't hear that. Coach, when are we finally going to put our fingers on the 4-3-3 structure? I think maybe tomorrow. Do you guys think we will be mid-table with another season of Potter? No, there's no guarantee. Even if Potter is that bad, with all the players back, I think we'll be doing better.
Yes. Listen, just with one player, usually, with one player and Golo, we are a different team completely. Then with no disrespect to any of the back three, but Silva makes a big difference. Reece makes a big difference. And it would help if, if our players stop hitting the bloody woodwork and start hitting the back of the net. That might help also. Because goals change games. And we haven't been clinical. It's that simple.
Yeah.
We can critique. We can critique all the substitutions. We can critique, the formations or how we're progressing through the lines. And we can analyze and break down every aspect of every pass of a game. But if you're
plus player availability can make that more overall makes a huge difference.
But if you're missing open goals and you're missing your opportunities, then nothing can fix that. The players have to be more clinical, both offensively and defensively. Be more robust. Be more defense-minded. It's that simple. It's a simple game.
I agree with
broken down.
Yeah. Yep, I do agree with you. Says, show us whatever Conte said about Chelsea and Spurs. I'm gonna try and find it. Who said that shit? That I'm gonna try and find it and I'll show it to you guys. But it's painful, really. They're gonna hate him.
Conte never stays more than 3 years anywhere. He's a bit like Mourinho, actually.
Yeah, and he snaps. And once he snaps, he snaps.
Yes. I actually like him. I like his passion, I should say. And I like his technical acumen. But it seems there are many top managers that are very hard to work with. It seems that they're very, how should I put it, egotistical. They're very hard. They're very alpha orientated. They're very hard to work with. It's their way or the highway. It's a shame. But you look at people like Ancelotti, and he's not like that. He is the consummate professional, and I don't understand why more coaches aren't like him. Yeah,
Carlo is very a humble individual.
He's a class act. Coach.
Yeah, he's a class act. Yeah. When it comes to set piece, Thomas Frank is the best in the business. I think another person have said that. I've read that one. Where were these shows when Rafa Benitez was in charge? Probably calling him.
Oh, Glenn!
I think wasn't Mourinho the one that called him that first?
Someone did.
I think Mourinho maybe made reference to what he eats. Let's not do that, please.
Jose can be brutal.
He can be brutal. Yeah. And let me say this quickly, Glenn. You're not going to cost me to go to hell. I want to go to heaven.
You know what, though? That was a great rivalry when those two were managing.
No, it was
Chelsea
enjoyable. It was enjoyable, yeah.
It was a great rivalry. You've got to give it to Jose.
Yeah, it was. If you're watching, people, we have 72 likes. Let's get it. 20. That's 28 more to get it to 100. We still have a few minutes to round up, about 15 to 20 minutes to round up. Let's get it, please. Let's get it to 100 likes. 28 more likes. We can do that, people. Please, let's get it there. These lots have no shame. A lot of us don't, but I know where you're coming from. Chelsea owners are clowns. That's why they keep fumbling. A Saka first-class coach, hire mid-table coach. I'm sorry for Chelsea. Maxwell, thank you for finding the time to join in the show. You're entitled to your opinion. Chelsea will sell Chilwell to Man City if 70 million is put forward. Oh, I think they would take it. That's a lot of money. And then bring in Matson to be working with, what's his name, with Korea. And I say, I agree, Roger, and motivation also to fight for place, not just top four. I don't know when you and Roger became best friends.
Eugene, the check's in the mail, sir.
From worst enemies to best friends, but that's what we love to see here. Come on, people, let's beef up the likes. You people are absolute legends. Let's get it to 100 likes as soon as possible.
Do you agree, though, to identify the fact that another huge reason for Chelsea not seeing it is we lack true leadership?
We do, a lot of it. We do lack leadership. That makes a whole lack of leadership, you could say, is what
on the pitch.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why once we concede, to them, it's like it's over.
Yeah, exactly. And you look, Aspie hardly plays, and that's not his fault. Father Time is called.
But when he's on the pitch, even when he's having the worst game of his life, if we're losing, you still see him putting in the effort.
Right. Let alone
the fact that he's not able to do much comes down to his age or lack of his pace anymore. But one-on-one, I think, is still one of the best in the right back position. So yeah. Good observation there. Go ahead if you were still saying something.
No, until this issue was addressed, where someone either comes to the front, like a Reece or whomever, starts to lead, either by example, preferably, and of course verbally. You know, you need a JT's personality on the pitch. You know, you need someone to rally the troops, as they say, and I don't see that. I just don't, and that's disconcerting, and that's an issue, because you're right. You need someone, because this game is mental. It's all psychological. When you concede a goal, you cannot drop your head. Your body language must not change. In fact, it should be the opposite. You must be motivated more to score more or to not concede anymore, etc. You know, look at Real Madrid, for instance. Whenever they concede a goal, their body language never changes. If anything, it's even more positive. They have leadership throughout the pitch. And
that does go a long way.
Elite players that are technical, but also psychologically speaking, between the ears, they have top class players in many aspects with their football IQ, but also the leadership and the alpha, the desire to win. So it's also when we're hiring or buying players, also the personality matters. How much is their desire to win? Things like that matter.
Yeah, they do. They do matter, in fact. Chelsea joint race for Manu Kone. The question I want to ask, how much is his transfer valuation? I want to know. I'm really not sure. The morning for TT reminds me of the first Mourinho signing. Yeah. That was painful for me too. That was painful. Ancelotti was painful for me too. Conte, I wanted to leave immediately after that awful performance against. Maybe that was a draw for Roman too against Man City. ABB, I wasn't sure where I stand because I was still hoping he replicates what he did at Porto at Chelsea. So I liked Scolari, but I didn't feel that much pain when he was fired.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah,
the only time I felt pain is when Ancelotti left. You know, I was shocked. I was dumbfounded by that. And now TT. These are the two occasions that have really. I mean, I think the world of TT. Maybe he returns in 5-10 years' time. You never know. Time heals.
If he comes, I'll take him.
Yeah, and I'm saying, you know, in the future, you don't know what the future brings.
Because here's the thing. Sorry for trying to do it tapping on you again. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
Now, I was going to say, here's the thing, no matter how bad of a relationship he may have with Bolly and co right now, he has a special bond. His first Champions League, his first Club World Cup, his first European Super Cup, his first European trophies.
He has a legacy
one
with
global
us.
trophy, 2 European trophies. That
he has a legacy
never,
built.
yeah, it's there. So he will always have that special bond with Chelsea.
It's like the first love, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if the opportunity calls, probably with a new stadium in place, I think it'd come. Yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
Listen, we in 5-10 years' time we can have new ownership. Also, you don't know, but
yeah, it happens. Who knew? I didn't know the Glazers would want to sell Manchester United at any time. And these guys are profit focused. If anytime they feel like they will make more money selling Chelsea, I think they do it.
Yeah, but yes, I agree. Mm-hmm. They're not Chelsea fans. They're not like Roman.
No, they're not.
Listen, Roman wrote off 1.5 billion. Well, I mean,
yeah, which he could have again. Someone I'm referring to.
Regardless of how he managed, well, not say managed. I'm talking about how he ran the club. Mm-hmm. Regardless of whether you agree or disagree with his methodology, but he was first and foremost a Chelsea fan, and you have to respect him for that.
True. Profit was secondary for him.
Oh yeah, it was negligible.
Yeah. So if you're watching, if you haven't, please keep liking the stream. 26 more to get it to 100. We're making progress, and we still have about 20 more plus or 25 minutes to round up. Can Richarlison save his? From now, I apologize. It's not a player. I didn't want us to sign him. As much as I know he has a good player in him, I don't like him. I don't think it's Chelsea level, really. That's how I see it.
You know what I do like about him? I like the fact that he fights for everything.
That's all. Exactly. That's
all. Fight. He has passion. However, I don't like the fact that he is so temperamental, and also he reminds me of Neymar, where he'll accentuate a tackle to the point where it feels like an amputation of the leg. He goes from one extreme to the other. But I do respect the fight in him, but he goes too far, in my opinion.
Glenn is killing me. I don't know if I'm going to read the next one he has in the chat.
I don't have, for some reason today...
Go ahead, brother.
In the StreamYard, I can't see the written, anyone's writing. I can't see it today. So
you cannot even see it on another screen?
No, I can't see anything.
What happened? I didn't change any settings.
I don't know. I'll type something to you in our chat. But I can't see.
I just saw you just wrote something and I just saw it.
But I don't have the option to go to the in-house chat and then see everyone's comments. I don't have that.
Oh, you'd have to see that via YouTube.
Yeah, but normally in the window I'm using to access, through Chrome, I can see both of them. But for some reason,
you changed the browser?
No, maybe I just need to refresh the page, but that would disconnect.
I didn't change anything either myself.
No, it's probably my browser,
okay.
sir.
Okay, let's see. JC says CFC Twitter account French and Spanish lessons for Corner will come in handy in a few weeks. Does it mean that he's Europe bound? You're not. I'm sure you're not trolling because you don't troll. I'm not sure. Maybe. Julian Nagelsmann is in Chelsea list of people to get sacked. Yep, we've talked about that in a bit. Someone needs to say something about Spurs. Better for the fans to know, but it was always obvious. It was obviously and clear, honest without soul and passion. Levy, I'm not sure how he gets away with, again, not even spending money. I think the best manager since that I've seen is what's his name, the Argentine, Pochettino. I think they made a mistake firing him. Look at what he had that he nearly won the league with. He got to the Champions League final and lost to, what team was that? I don't remember what team they lost
Liverpool.
to. Liverpool, yeah. So Poch is a good manager, but I don't want to talk about that. To be honest, Nagelsmann had many outfield issues. I think we should attempt to sign Zidane.
No.
Wow. Zidane, I'm not going to get into that argument right now, but I get what you're saying. We don't have leadership in board of a club. Okay. And the owners too. Sports are cursed. He's telling him next season the top six will be restored with Newcastle replacing us. We will not finish above seventh with Potter. Liverpool, United, Arsenal, City, and Spurs will be back. The league will not stagnate just to benefit us.
Of course.
We're not entitled to that. We have to work for it.
It's getting stronger each year because each club is being purchased by owners that have untold wealth, so they're able to invest more. We were fortuitous when Roman bought the team. There was hardly any competition financially speaking.
And in the case of Newcastle, like we talked about here before, they're part of they're one of the big boys now. They have money they can spend. And sorry, people, I'm not going to be reading everything from now on, but I'll try to highlight them on the screen so people can see it. And if Roger, anybody wants to read it, that's fine. Roger, the leadership comes from a manager under Tuchel. The same players when not the same exactly. When places like Real Madrid believing they can overturn results, it's not simple down to players. Again, it's not down simple
talking
down
about
to players,
natural leadership.
But the club has actually changed.
But you can't teach leadership. It comes from you're either a leader, you're either an alpha or a beta. You're either a follower or a leader. It's that simple. So I understand what you're saying, but that's not the case. You know, John Terrys don't grow on trees. Otherwise, there would have been 11 John Terrys on the field. There wasn't.
According to Calcio Mercato, new Bayern Munich manager Tuchel wants conversation Mendy. It sounds like players he would want. He likes Mendy. He waited until Mendy got injured before he changed him, and he loves Kovacic. Why are we third in World Cup? Okay, just keep it in line. I have seen more of TTs at Chelsea fan days than
you ain't lying about that.
Wow.
He says, you can't take my sins, man.
That was funny.
I'm not reading that one. Just go away. According to the Times, Chelsea will sell Mount because of his financial problems. Possibly. It's looking. He's more likely to leave than stay. Tuchel is about to get another Champions League.
Oh my
we
gosh.
are a distant memory. Okay.
And then be a Bayern fan. I'm tired of this. Be a Bayern Munich fan then. Because you want to keep talking about Tuchel going to do this and that. Be a Bayern Munich fan and just end everything. Just stop being a fan of Chelsea. That's it.
You hear that? The beautiful game? and let's face it, this UEFA Champions League is going to be a tap-in for him. You think? I don't think so. It's not going to be easy. He has to overcome Man City first. The difference now is I think Pep would have to. I think this is he has a different team than Chelsea.
This is going to be a great match. Both
tactical.
legs.
Yeah, it will be.
I can't wait to watch that game.
It will be. Yeah, we'll see how he feels about us when he slaps us by an aggregate of 40. Be nice, man. Let me see. Pochettino buy only Lucas Moura's because they built a stadium. Yeah, and yet the way they fired him, I don't think it's okay. I'm not sure if that will happen. Chelsea set to renegotiate a fee for Zakaria, according to Gazzetta dello Sport. That's shocking, really. I'd be surprised.
I hope so.
Roger JT is just the alpha of the alpha. Wow. There were other alphas like Lampard in the team. Yep, Lampard drove a check. But JT is a capital alpha. Think of him. Think of it like a king of kings in that situation. Yeah.
Yeah, but look all over the pitch. There were natural leaders like Czech, Lampard, etc. You know, Drogba. You're correct. We don't have those leaders currently right now, and this is what I've been saying. This is one of my largest concerns, my biggest concern with Chelsea currently.
Yeah. True, we don't have leadership, and Potter isn't a leader either. That makes it worse. Who the hell is that guy? That's Keshan, the New York guy. Rogers Alter Ego, maybe. I don't know. But I like that.
I mean, I don't get why people are saying Tuchel's gonna win the Champions League. What they got to do with Chelsea? What does that have to what does that really have to do with Chelsea?
Here's the thing. I think it's more like grievance. Maybe we don't have him. It's
Like,
not our
is
choice now.
Is he trying
He's
to rub
going to
it
go
in?
ahead and win it with another team. Yeah. So it's more like
So that's good for him. As soon as he's off this club, I don't care for Thomas Tuchel. I'm sorry.
Right now, the fans are looking at their ex-girlfriend dating someone driving a Ferrari.
Yeah, like why? Like why?
Convertible Ferrari, by the way.
Like that's crazy.
Oh my goodness! I think that's the most accurate of it. They're just looking like, wow, like why did we let him go? But that's, by the way, Kishan. Anything you want to add to the conversation with regards to? Anything else we'll talk? Just go ahead so that we'll move on to the next topic. We don't have too much time, actually.
No, I'm good.
Oh, you good? Okay, okay. That's fine.
I'm just sticking around for a little while.
That's fine, brother. I appreciate that. This right here, Kai Havertz would like to leave Chelsea in the summer and has a very good relationship with Thomas Tuchel, but he's not a target for Bayern Munich this summer. I've seen some other outlets or some other news outlet phrase it differently, saying, but he doesn't want to join Bayern. They're not mentioning the fact that Bayern aren't interested. I still don't believe this. He's currently one of our best players.
This was always going to happen, Coach. Once Tuchel got this job with Havertz, the link being German and so forth, this was always going to happen. It's inevitable.
So, to me, I doubt if it's going to happen. I know some Chelsea fans who would like to see it happen. This guy is currently one of our best players, and if Potter stays, the more likely, again, he stays, because Potter likes him from what I've seen.
Do you perceive Havertz as being happy in Chelsea?
I don't know. There's no way to tell. He performs whenever he's on the pitch. And I think Graham Potter is capable of making him, you can say, striking a good relationship with him. And I think from the way I see two of them on the pitch, hugging and all that, but that's just on the surface level. There's no talent.
Yes,
I can't say beyond what I'm seeing. I don't see him pushing Potter away. Potter comes to hug him after a game. So, which means I have no right to say from that alone that they have a good relationship.
There's and he's getting plenty of minutes. He's getting loads of minutes.
Yeah, which is based on his performance. No sentiment with regards to that. But Keshan, let me ask you this quickly. Your thoughts on the Havertz? I know you don't like him. You probably want him to leave.
It's not that I don't like him. I just don't think he's performing this season.
Okay? Go ahead. Let me let you drop. Sorry for misquoting you.
Last season, I would be bragging to my friends that we got Kai Havertz and Mason Mount like they're the future. Now I'm looking crazy. Now they're asking me, is he still the future? Like, oh man. But I like him as like squad depth. I just would prefer someone who's more clinical up front.
How about him playing? Do you see him playing for the club continuously in other positions where he'd be more effective? Like, even I've seen on occasions how he's able to handle the situation in deeper areas when the ball gets deeper. Much deeper areas. Yeah. So I think he can do well deeper, but in what structure? Because he's not the best defensively. Maybe as a 10, it's that same thing, playing in behind the striker and not being at the forefront. Maybe he'd do better. But your thoughts, Keshan?
Yeah, I mean, at the 10, we are going to have Nkunku there. And then if we re-sign Felix, that's going to be tough. But if we don't get Felix, I would be more than happy to keep Mount behind Nkunku. I mean, Havertz, I'm sorry. I said Mount.
Freudian slip.
But Roger, your thoughts. Do you think he leaves? What do you think?
No. You're talking about Havertz, yes?
Mm-hmm.
No, I believe he'll stay at least another year minimum. He's got 3 years on his contract left, I think.
Around that number. Let me check.
Yeah, give or take. Mm-hmm. From what I can tell, he's very happy. Listen, for all Germans, Bayern is the team. They have a one-team league, and it's a very accomplished team with a lot of pedigree. And it's a huge privilege to play for them if you're German, and I get that. Especially if you're German, I mean. Mm-hmm. But I think he's very young. He's 24? I think he's very happy at Chelsea. And I think it'd be too premature for him to leave, in my opinion.
And we can put in all the work again as he's getting to his prime. We're selling at the best period of his career.
Yeah, well, actually, he's 23 years and 9 months, so he's not even 24 yet. Wow. So yeah, he's got another couple of years before he reaches his prime. So we haven't seen the best of him, and this has been a down season in all aspects. I can see him excelling. I really can.
His contract expires in 2025.
It's 25-26 season.
What?
25-26 season?
No, June 2025.
Oh, yeah. So 24-25. So we've got 2 more years then after this year.
So if we have to get him to sign a new contract or sell it. So given that situation, I think there's a chance he also leaves.
Yeah, we'll find out by probably, well, maybe by Christmas time. It's that simple.
He's one player. I'm gonna feel really bad if he leaves because there's something we haven't seen everything in this guy.
No, he's going to be a better player than he is now, assuming he's healthy and remains healthy. I don't believe he's reached his peak yet. Not even.
Yeah, I'm beginning to, given that he has 2 years left. You could say he has other cards. I don't know what sort of contract you'd offer him to get him to decide he wants to stay. It's difficult. Here's the thing with regards to Keshan being on the panel. The Bluetooth game says all we need was another Potter in on the panel. We're doomed.
Oh my God! Why is everyone so tribalist with all this Potter in, Potter out crap?
Yes,
I just want to see a good product at the end of the day.
Exactly.
I don't care. Like everyone wants to pick sides. Like it's weird. We're all Chelsea fans.
Yep, that's the truth.
People have different
Chelsea's the club we support. But I know he's kidding. You know he's joking.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as
you're not
you say something that's like towards Potter in or towards Potter out, it's like, oh, you drew a line.
Yeah.
Same with Mount. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Yeah, he says, yes, people must get over Tuchel and leave in the presence. That's the truth. Tuchel is not God. He gets fired at PSG. Nobody said he was one. A slap of 200 million release a clause on him. Okay. Let's see. On who? On Kai?
Yeah.
If he signs a new contract, because he's that player. He's a special player.
Actually, maybe more because 200 million in 3, 4, 5 years' time would be the equivalent of 100 million now. So maybe 300-400. Sod it.
Yeah, he's a solid guy. If you think that Tuchel have magic, you're clueless. I'd like to keep this a circle. Still here, Berbatov. He reminds me. Yeah, he has some excellent touch. And Berbatov, wow, his touches, delicious. Chelsea were
Maya Jama.
Chelsea were dating Maya Java, and by some twist of fate, ended up with Whoopi Goldberg. You expect us not to? I'm not gonna just go away. I'm gonna stop reading your comments.
I gotta look up who's Maya Jama.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either. I'm lost.
Hello everyone, Coach Chib. Thank you so much for calling me that. I appreciate you. Constantin Dante, big up to you. You're late, but lateness is greatness. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. I appreciate that. I think Tuchel will not take a VAT. He has a many upfront. And for Bayern, it's not necessarily who you want. I think a lot of people come into that conversation. Keshan, the Bluetooth saying hi, big up to you. It's all love, and I know you're going to sit down.
By the way, Maya Jama is gorgeous.
No wonder why he said that, right?
She's gorgeous.
Tuchel wants Lukaku, but it didn't work. He will find someone who is more clinical than Havertz, and he's begging us, please look him up. You'll be probably saying you will not regret if you do. But that's, by the way, Kai Havertz is not leaving. With 2 years left on his contract, you don't want to start arguing that. Don't hold your breath on that. Anything can happen. Because if the club sees that, it will be difficult to get him to put pen to paper for another contract. The best time to sell him is this year. Do I make sense there, Roger?
Yes. Sorry, I was sidelined by looking at my Jama. Wow.
Well, you get my argument right now.
Yeah, yes, I do.
Yeah, if we're gonna get anything, if they find out, they will try. I believe they will try to get him to sign a new contract as soon as possible. Then, if they see it's not possible, they will try to sell him in the summer.
They probably have already started negotiations.
And we don't know. That's a chance. That's the case. So yeah, they will find out whether it works or not.
Yes. Because I think they know what they want in him. I think they would have initiated at least laying the groundwork for initial talks. I think that's a safe assumption with only 2 years left.
Yeah, and I heard that the new owners, they don't want to risk too much in terms of wasting time on players, and the players end up leaving. Now
like
we see, exactly. We see that hiring Potter has cost us a lot. Do I think they see the same? Possibly. Havertz will be a perfect replacement for Müller for Bayern. So, but I don't want us to sell him on the cheap, because once he has a year left on his contract, right now his transfer value is around 60 million, which means even if we sell him now, but I don't want him to leave. If we sell him now, we made some profit, because he did well for us, no matter how you see it.
He got us a big trophy.
Yeah, so, but I'm concerned. There's a chance he leaves, since he has just 2 years left on his contract. It's practically 50-50 now. Him staying depends on whether he puts pen to paper for a new contract. And given that the contract structure at Chelsea have changed, there's a chance he may know, he will be like Mason Mount, not into the new structure, and wouldn't take it.
That's worrisome, coach.
Yeah, it's worrisome, really. So a lot of players may end up leaving. I think Chelsea will say Havertz if he wants to leave. Yep, that's what it comes to. So they will try him with a new contract. If he refuses, then they will sell him. Sell Havertz, but keep Mount. I'm happy that. Okay, let's see what happens. I always thought Havertz would go back to Germany eventually. He's one player, I think he likes to get out of his comfort zone, which was why he decided to sign for us in the first place. He could have stayed in Germany. But I'm not surprised with the talks that that he wants to go in the summer, but not to Bayern Munich. And if that's the truth, we're better off selling him in the summer. It makes sense now that he has just 2 years left on his contract. Any player who wants to leave should leave as soon as possible. So have we read this one? Anthony Barry may not be the only Chelsea employee subject to interest from Thomas Tuchel over the coming months. Midfielder Mateo Kovacic, not surprising. Kovacic is one of his favorite players. Will only have 1 year remaining on his contract in the summer, which means we have to sell him.
What's his value, coach? Do you know?
Let me see. Let me check. Just give me 1 second. So we have to sell him. We risk losing him on a free too. Losing him on a cheap, maybe.
I believe he's going to stay though. I think he's quite happy here, isn't he?
Yeah, but you don't know. A Kovacic Chelsea contract. Let's go.
Listen, he's been given the captain's armband. You don't usually give that to someone that wants to leave.
Maybe they're trying to convince him to stay.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe just truly because he's a senior, one of the senior players there.
Yeah.
Let me see. I don't think it would be that high, but Kai's probably more than 60, 40. That's not bad. And we paid around 35 for him or so. I don't remember.
So Kovacic,
that's euros. So euros, yeah.
So that's about what, 33 to 35 million pounds.
Yeah, around that. I think I should get the calculator every time I'm trying to convert from to pounds to just do it. I could easily do it with Google, but I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but we need to keep Kova, to be honest with you.
We do need to keep him. Yeah, I agree with you.
He's very important for transitional purposes, at least.
That's a language for us I've always looked for whenever I talk about his importance to the team. Yes. Mason Mount will become world-class player if we give him time. It's not about time. Time isn't the issue. The biggest hurdle right now is getting him to put pen to paper for a new contract. Then he stays. If Kovacic leaves, who will replace him? Ruben Loftus-Cheek? No, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is a different player, and he's not a deep line midfielder, and I don't think he can fulfill that hybrid of 8 and 6 very well. I'd rather see him playing in the right wing back position, or maybe an 8 further forward if the opportunity comes. But it doesn't look like he speaks up and say, "Here's where I think you can get the best out of me." There are 16 months left on a CFC contract for Kovacic. No negotiations for a new contract have started yet. Potter bench covered during first half of the season regularly, and Cover wasn't happy. But now he's one of his best players, really. Tuchel Smart wants Kovacic, knows he is perfect squad player, doesn't complain, and technically excellent. If Kovacic is fit, I don't think he'd be a squad player under Thomas Tuchel. He likes him that much. If that makes sense. So we move on from that particular topic. This one right here. Anything else? This says Anthony Barry. Okay, we've seen that one. That topic too. Chelsea coach Anthony Barry to stay away from Cobham. We talked about that too. Chelsea have yet to open talks with Mateo Kovacic, despite his contract having just 16 months left to run. There's a growing feeling, however, that he could be sold as part of a summer clear-out. The 28-year-old midfielder has interest from Pep Guardiola. Please don't give this guy to Pep. Whatever you do, I'm not going to say too much. If Pep gets Kovacic, oh my, you know what's going to happen. I don't know. Again, I know some of us don't understand what he brings to the team.
No, I think he would suit City very well.
Oh my.
He would excel in that team.
And there's a chance he may have convinced him now to join him. We don't know, because these guys, they do communicate. If they get him, good luck getting the ball off or getting the ball from City if they want to keep it.
Because you look around, if you slot him in that squad, starting 11, the players around Kovacic that he will have at his disposal are so technically gifted. I think his transition will be smooth there. I think he suits them to a T, actually, the more I think about it.
All right. Let me catch up with the chat and we'll call it a day. Thank you so much. It's been an excellent show. 79 likes. Let's get it to at least 80. And then behind, in the back end, I'm seeing 892 views. That's not bad. It has dropped a lot, quite a while of recent. I like Captain Kova. That's all I can say. Only a newbie like GP subs him off, like during the Everton game. Even if you want to, again, I'm not going to get into the argument, but I get where you're coming from. Actually, now Kova seems to be training the team together with Thiago. To be training the team together with Thiago with a back three doesn't mean that Potter likes it. That Potter's job is being done by those two. Some argument. The best thing about the January transfer window was that the PlayStation fans learning about greener grass on the other side. A new coach will now have the opportunity to build a new team around Havertz. Kovacic isn't starting for Man City. You're kidding me. Kovacic starts for Man City. Even Bayern, he starts. Believe me, the only time Thomas Tuchel started keeping him on the bench was when he wasn't sure about his fitness. He was one of the players that what's his name, Thomas Tuchel overused. Kovacic is not good enough anymore. Mount is not good enough anymore. Hope that triggers you. How does that sound? If I present that argument now, he will come at me. If anything, I'm seeing his best football of late. Kovacic's ability to hide the ball from opponents, must do that in some moments of games. He's an excellent player, really. But no jokes. I was just trying to get back at you for saying he's not good enough. Where Kovacic starts for Man City?
Goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper in the position.
I think Gundogan's going to leave. I think he'll be
Gundogan is going to leave,
exactly. So good point there. So that's, by the way, guys, we've come to the end of the show. Thank you for 80 likes. Let's get it to 200 if we can. Maybe subsequent views will get into that number. But 895 views, that's not bad, given that, yeah, this is off day, no club football, and also no transfer. So thank you for that. Roger, anything else you want to say so we can call it a day? We have about 3 minutes to round up.
No, I just hope that, seriously, that Kai and Kova stay. I think I'd be really upset if they leave.
The whole thing comes down to them. I think so.
Of course it does. Yeah, the ball. I think they're integral for us if we want to be successful next season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about you, the New York guy, Deshaun? You have anything to say?
Yeah. Just get Thomas Tuchel out your head, man. Like, you guys acting like he's an ex-girlfriend. Like, I get it. He's a great manager. You know, they might have made that mistake of getting rid of him, but that doesn't mean you harp on it every second you can. Like, what are you getting out of it?
Put those photos away, man.
Yeah.
Put those photos in the drawer.
Yeah, burn them if that's what you want to
do. But that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on from him. If you want to keep watching Bayern because of him, yeah, you can also watch Bayern. That's not a bad thing. Looking forward to a 4-3-3 and the manager chart. I think we'll do that. We'll still get that structure. Cover won't start, but we'll play a lot. At Man City, there's no guarantee to Constantine Dante, so thank you for saying that. Sell Kai to Fondo Simhen, then it's okay. Wow, that is some argument. Okay, let's see if that happens. Kova is a sell. Sorry?
Would you want that?
No. And you know my argument.
Yeah.
Kova is a sell. It's a sales list for Porter. Don't blame me, Letter, for calling it out. I am just being honest. I understand that. But at the moment, it's your opinion until it happens. But that's, by the way, I want to say thank you to Roger and Deshaun, two of the panelists today. It's been an excellent discussion. It looks like the lesser the number of panelists we have, the more the conversation flows easily. But it's not bad to have plenty more. So thank you, Roger. Thank you, Deshaun. I appreciate you all. Thank you to Eugene Nutty. Much love to you. Thank you to JC. Thank you to Constantine Dante, my brother. Nice to see you. Thank you to Don Potter. Who else? Bobby Fairview, my bro. Much love to you. The beautiful game. I can't see you here. There you go. Much love to you. Much love to Glenn. Everybody in the chat. If I missed your name, apologies. I'm only human. See you guys next time. God bless us all, and bye.
Bye-bye.